Call the meeting to order. It's 6 o'clock. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes of September 26, 2023, regular board meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 5-0. There's another a special select board meeting from October 6th at 11 a.m. Entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5. There's some new business. The first one under new business, I'm going to leave off simply because that person doesn't know that this thing that you guys have signed is coming. So we have a dam supplemental agreement under 9C, and we have a town hall request from Vivian Jeffers. Two of them, okay. And then we have members of the public. Fran, what do you have?
It's me?
Yeah.
My name is Fran Frawley. I live in 63 School Lane, Townshend, Vermont. And what we're here for is we're dealing with a pipe/culvert situation behind our home on Taft Road. So the pipe was recently uncovered and the water is now coming down the road through the pipe down to our house, and it's causing mudslide to come and wrapping around the house. It's destroying the house, actually. It's just more and more each time we come up here. So we've contacted the town more than once and about this problem to get it resolved. So I'm hoping that we can. I called the state recently and they said I should come to the town hall, which I'm trying to do, resolve at the town, and to let them know how this meeting goes, what the outcome is. So we're just asking the town, basically, if they could possibly divert the water somehow to go down the hill instead of down into our home. Down Taft, where the other side of the road is going. That's going down. So we were hoping that on the other side, I measured it today. I was asked to take measurements, and it is 25 feet from the middle of the road to where the pipe ends. So I was hoping that we could divert it down the hill so it doesn't come down the hill and make a mudslide that's causing a lot of problems. Not sure when it was uncovered. We think it was about 5 years ago, but or 2020, about that time. Not sure why, but they did the front of the house. They did that ditch, but not behind the house. So that was all drained out and as well. But evidently this thing was uncovered, and now I don't know why it happened now. Didn't get that information. I asked for it, but I didn't know when it was uncovered or
A spring was uncovered, or
the pipe.
the pipe? Got it. Okay.
So on the other side of the street on Taft, it's running fine. It's running through under the street culvert, and the pipe ends there and goes straight down instead of down the road.
It looks like maybe at some point in time there used to be a ditch where the water would come out and be diverted down the side of Taft. But if there was a ditch, it's gone now, and all the water and mud is gone. I'm Franny's sister, by the way. I just can't believe that a situation like this cannot be resolved, and I'm here to support her.
So I know it's like, in time that does happen, because the waters do whatever they want. But at this point, that pipe is directly going down behind my house, and there is nowhere for it to go unless it's diverted somehow.
It's a hill, straight hill.
So, it was suggested, I did have the maintenance crew come from the road crew come, and he suggested that I divert it next door to, the property next door to me, but it's someone else's property. So I didn't feel that was a good resolution to that problem. So that was his suggestion. So the neighbor wasn't happy with that suggestion either. He's not here tonight, but when he was told that was it. He wanted to know if there was another way, instead of his property, that it could be sent down. The road goes down, by the way, Taft goes down here. So that's what I'm requesting, again. I hope it can be resolved somehow. I know it's difficult to discuss that, but nothing's been done yet, so.
I'm curious which agencies with the state you've spoken with. Do you,
Her name is Jennifer.
is she like,
She's the town clerk. She's the clerk in the state.
oh, okay.
I have her name and her email.
Oh, no, that's great. I was just curious if you'd spoken with a specific agency or.
Oh, no,
You,
she's from the state.
like in Montpelier, she's probably.
She's from the maintenance
Okay,
department,
I see.
road maintenance.
Okay,
I was told to call. I'm trying to do everything. I called FEMA, I called everything
Yeah.
that's been suggested that I call. I don't want to go through the state.
out of
I'd like to
curiosity,
get it resolved in town.
did FEMA have any suggestions
I'm
for you?
registered. They're gonna come, they're overwhelmed, and I
Oh, got
understand,
it.
but that's another thing, by the way. I do
Yeah.
understand that we're overwhelmed with the flood situation.
Yeah,
My problem came before the flood came, and, and I understand there's a lot of people that need more than me. So
Okay.
I'm being-
I was just curious if anybody had been responsive. It sounds like they're responding to you and FEMA's processing your claim.
Yes,
Right, okay.
and, I'm not up there on the needy. They actually asked me for need housing, so.
Sure.
Even if FEMA came to help, FEMA could come and help clean up the mess of the mud,
Oh, sure.
but it would not resolve the problem of more mud every time it rains
Mhm.
or there's a storm coming down the mountain into her basement.
Sure, it
I can't
involves,
even keep up with
yeah.
it.
It involves a re-engineering of the area for the solution you're talking about.
I don't even know where to be, I wouldn't know where
Yeah.
to begin.
Well, if you had a big machine and you could dig a ditch, you could divert the water in a different direction.
That's above my pay grade, so.
Yeah.
Me too.
Town,
And I don't know why she can't do it either.
if you looked at the road and whatnot, and I did measure, I was asked to measure, and it is 25 from the middle of the road to the end of the pipe, I don't know.
Mhm.
But Taft does go downhill, right behind my house. So that's
Okay.
where the water would go, if it was diverted that way.
Okay.
Right now,
Along
it's going down towards my house,
And
from the road.
So you're suggesting that it would be better if it ran next to the road?
Yes, just like
I
on
see.
the opposite side. On the opposite side of Taft, there's a beautiful ditch. It's got stones in it and
And
it's,
is that the higher side of the?
Yes,
It
it's
was,
the higher
it was
side.
recently done, Ally.
and then you go across where Fran's property is, and there's no ditch, there's a pipe, and it's all pouring down the
going
back
everywhere.
of a hillside
Mhm.
into her basement. Now, that doesn't seem to make any sense to me.
And is your land, so the pipe from the road that's coming out, is that your land up to there? And is there any irrigation to divert it?
There is no.
Has there been any,
irrigation.
like, on your property, is there any solutions to assist the irrigation to divert it away from your house?
Not that I can see.
I guess if you had, I'm not an engineer, but if you put a big, long pipe going all the way down that hill out to the street, but now you're talking about School Lawn Road.
But she's saying does one exist now?
No, one doesn't exist now.
There's nothing existing.
And there's no like natural land barrier that's helping
No,
the
and that's
water
what,
go
that would be
around
helpful.
this?
But no, there's nothing. It goes right into the woods, down the road, down the hill, and has caused this mudslide that is all around the house now, a lot, like lava.
And is that your property that goes up to the road edge?
Yes.
Okay.
May I ask something? Just out of curiosity? So you said the pipe was uncovered?
Recently.
So the pipe wasn't even showing?
You know what? I don't know that.
What happened? Where did that pipe come from?
I did ask that. I asked to find out that information, but I haven't heard yet.
Because it sounds like it wasn't there and now it's there.
Oh, it was there, it was put
Pipe was
in,
there.
it was put in years ago,
Uh-huh.
just recently uncovered or unclogged. I don't really
Okay,
know.
gotcha. 'Cause
I
it
did
was-
ask
Yeah.
what happened,
Yeah.
and I didn't get the information
So
yet.
if that pipe was closed off, and the water's coming from the ditch across the road and going through that pipe, if that pipe was closed off, wouldn't the water then have to go
It
back?
would have to stay on the other
It would have
side.
to stay on the other side, so
That would-
basically.
Actually, that would be a good solution, because that could
Okay,
continue.
we're getting way off base, okay.
That could continue right down the road, that would be a good solution. There's a lot of solutions.
We're getting,
But
hang on,
nothing's being
hang on,
happened.
hang on. I allow certain people to ask questions without a problem, but if it devolves into a conversation, it's just mixing everybody up as to what.
Yes, there's a lot of
No more.
solutions, a lot of ideas. yes.
Jeremy, have you seen this problem?
Yes, I have seen the problem.
Okay.
The culvert was built when the road was built, so the culvert's been there, I don't know what year your house was
I
built.
think 72, 70.
And the road was, I'm not really sure on when the road was built, but I know it was there when they built the road.
Okay.
So I was the one that uncovered the pipe because it's part of our maintenance regimen,
Okay.
whether it was clogged or not before that.
Was it, when you say you opened it,
Just clean the end of the pipe out so the water
so it
can
was
flow.
clogged?
Yes,
So it wasn't covered with cement or anything, it was
No,
actually clogged?
just
Okay.
clogged.
Okay. And you uncovered it because the other side of the road had to go? Because that looks new.
If we allowed the water to continue past the culvert where it is now, we would have multiple washouts because the water just keeps catching speed,
Yeah. that
and
makes sense.
then you have issues. That's why there's a cross culvert there.
Okay.
So what
And that's
what
all.
can be done, what do you think can be done to help the situation?
Well, I mean, that's one of the culverts that's slated for replacement.
Okay.
Like he said, we could figure out a solution.
So when you say replacement, that will help
Well,
divert
it's
it?
an old culvert, it's rotten, so,
It's pretty old.
and they need to be upsized anyways per state requirement. So, what I can do is I can come up with
That'd be great, Tony.
Okay.
And figure out a redirect diversion.
Is there a way to redirect?
and that's a lot.
Yeah.
So the
Okay.
measurement was 25 from the middle of the road.
And that's all, I mean, that's all we're responsible for.
Right.
It's 25 feet from the center of the road.
Okay.
Once it's off the road, then it's landowner responsibility, but I mean, if it's creating a big issue like that, then. Yeah, I will say that the culvert was there before the house was built, so whoever built the house,
Yeah,
that was on them.
right. And it hasn't been, when we moved in, it wasn't, so it must have been closed.
Well, we've had a lot of rain.
Yeah,
So-
and that's what I was saying, I do understand. But you know what, I had the problem before the flood, that sounds good. But when I came up here with this issue, it was 2 weeks before that, we got all that rain. And that made it worse. And I understand we're overloaded, we all are with that, I do. And I'm not, I know I'm not up there on the top of the list of problems. But
Yeah, we've
it's
done-
creating, I can't even keep up. There is so much more.
Thank you, Jerry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Fran, hi, I'm Katie. I spoke to your daughter early on when you first let us
Oh,
know.
yes.
And I was the one that gave her the FEMA information and stuff like that, which I
Yes, thank
understand
you.
that's a whole process and everything. I do want to let you know that when FEMA came here to meet with just the board, I brought this issue specifically up to them. Because what we're finding in the flooding and our weather patterns, is that we're getting like road material in people's yards, or things like, culverts dumping excess of water into people's yards, and what is the balance of that between the town and the resident? And honestly, like FEMA couldn't even give me a straight answer about that. They said that they had to go back to their people and try to figure out how that would work in terms of them then assisting people on, something from the road affecting a person. I'm still waiting on that answer. And I don't, it doesn't really help you right now, but I do want you to know that I did take your information as far as I could,
Thank you.
and try to gather what I could for
The
you.
same thing with FEMA.
Yeah.
But I know there's people that are in more,
No, yeah, I understand. It's,
whatever they need.
I think it's
So
a
thank you for.
multi-layered issue that I think we're trying to work out.
Yep,
And I want you to know that you were heard. I wanted
but
to
thank
tell
you for that. Yes, she told me about it.
Great.
Jeremy, will you follow up with her later?
And I didn't get your phone call, I've been
Oh, I'm
submitting
sure.
projects.
I figured you were, but thank you, Ben. You see the situation more clearly what we're talking about.
Yeah, look
I
at
hope
it.
it is an easy solution to it, that we can deal with. Get together. I really appreciate
You
it.
said it's slated for, is that soon, like slated like within a year?
Well, it's on the list of culverts that need to be upgraded.
So
which
within a
is-
year, who knows?
This, you know,
It's a long list.
I have hundreds of them.
Hey! Of
For
course
me,
you
it's
do.
all gonna be,
Well, thank
Let's see
you.
what I
Okay.
can do.
We ready? All right.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody.
Cory, yep. Go ahead.
I can ask. Hi, folks. You know me, I've been communicating with you guys for probably 3 or 4 months now about the town. Just to kind of give you a little background, because some people, Cory, why all of a sudden have you shown an interest after owning property here for 18 years? Well, why all of a sudden? There's an easy answer. We bought the property in 05 on West Hill Road. We built in 2017. But for 18 years, I've been driving through the East Village here. And when I first started driving through, I'm thinking, okay, well, you know, Townsend ain't no Grafton, but I didn't expect it was going to be a Grafton. But it's gonna improve as time goes on. So 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, nothing. It's gotten worse. We have a truck at the entrance now to our town. We have what can only be described as a blighted decay in that home that's across from the common where that person lives. Townshend Pizza has been sheltered for over a decade. And so I thought to myself, okay, now it's time to at least look into who's in charge, what's going on in this town. I'm glad my taxes have stayed. I'm still paying $7,200 a year, not cheap, but it's okay. Hasn't gone up, but a couple $100. And I'm so grateful, excuse me, for that. But I'm thinking, why is there no plan? What's the plan for this town? So I started looking. I knew nothing about select boards. I'm a Floridian. I knew nothing about select boards, and I went and looked at all of the minutes as much as I could. It's online, and I started seeing this pattern of 13 years of repeated select. And let me just say, these complaints are from the select board itself. In other words, when you do your town report every year, you issue a report, and I assume it's the chair that does it, or the chair assigns it to somebody. So this is from 13 years of the select board's report. This isn't some outsider saying, oh, you guys did this, you screwed this up. This is from the select board itself. In 2010, struggled with rising costs to help maintain tax bills at a reasonable level. We've tried to institute additional accounting controls to better report town expenses and revenues. That was 2010. 2011, dealt with ongoing depressed revenues while things like fuel, electricity, insurance continued to increase. That was 11. 2010, dealt with
Can I ask you just a quick clarifying
Sure.
question? So, I'm new to the select board.
You are, except for Rob. Everybody is new. That's one of the problems. You're all new. And have no idea what happened before.
Oh,
Actually, not true.
Then what do you
Actually,
do
not
about
true.
it?
So,
I'm sorry.
but hold
Go
on.
ahead.
So, I'm new to the select board. I'm also not originally from Townsend, Vermont. What I have learned as a member of the select board and as an employee of this town for 15 years is that town history matters here a lot. And I hear a lot of what you're saying, but some of I guess I'm trying to get clarity on what is your measurement of a good town or et cetera,
Good
because the truck at the entrance of the town, the houses, all of those are privately owned property
Right.
who are Townsend residents who we're here to represent. So I hear you, and I also politely push and saying, those are property owners who are making those choices with their property. And there's multiple houses along the common that need a significant amount of work, not just one house.
Absolutely.
And all,
which is one of my points.
Right, and all of those are property owners.
Right.
And so as representatives of the town, it's hard to say, make your house look nicer.
Well, I mean, to give you
or
an example,
take
there's
your-
tax advantages for that. Sherwin-Williams has a program, Paint My Town. Where's the organization of that? Where's somebody saying, let me lead this and go to these private homeowners and say, guess what? We can paint and stripe your house for free.
I guess where are I mean, I don't expect people to ask for it. People shouldn't have to ask.
Why go knocking on doors? Anyway, can I finish?
Sure, I just want to get sort of clarity of like what you're looking
So that was 2011. In 2012, dealt with enormous and unexpected financial costs. That was 12. 2013 dealt with ongoing financial problems. Because of poor management. Again, this is the select board talking. That was 2013. 2014 found itself without a sitting member, this is the select board, who had any current history with the select board. That was 2014. 2015 acknowledged that town government is changing every March with a new select board and there is no way to keep track of all of this information. This is the select board's complaint. That was 15. 2017 took action to finally get the town's financial house in order by consulting with experts on how to do better auditing. That was 17. 2018 saw the conclusion of the financial turmoil that the town has faced for several years due to turnover within the bookkeeper's office. That was 18. 2019 encouraged more intense understanding by the select board of the infrastructure and exactly what makes up governance of the town. 2020 lost 2 members due to resignation. 2021 continued to deal with extremely stressful financial considerations. That was 21. 22 announced that the highway department has faced a very difficult year and unforeseen increases in almost all areas of the budget. So what I saw when I'm going through this is, and it reminded me of that some author who said those who fail to recognize history are condemned to repeat it. So what you all are doing, and it's not you, it's not Sherwood, it's not Rob, it's not Phoebe, it's not Rob, it's not Katie, it's the select board. It's the 5 people who have been trying to run this town with an arm tied behind their back because there is no plan to make things better. You keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. And so then,
I'm just, sorry. Because some of this is I love the work that you've done with it. I so appreciate it. And as a member of the select board, including a member of the select board who has to resign from the select board at the end of the month, because I will no longer be a Townshend resident because I don't have a rental. These are all things that select board members and townspeople can be a part of the conversation. This is how we all are trying to make our difference in improving the town.
I could be home watching reruns of Oprah Winfrey. I'm here because I care about this town.
There's ways that people can make choices to try to improve their town. So I don't think saying document now 2023 in the select board documentation, it's gonna be open spot for select board member because somebody resigns. Any reason why, any discussion of what that's about. So I love the data, but it also doesn't present the full picture.
Absolutely, Phoebe, which is why I went 5 steps more. As you know, I documented. I've sent you all numerous emails with documentation about the select board. Anyway, if I could finish. So then my question is, this is where it ultimately led me to think, okay, and I'm just going to read this off real quick because that's why I'm here. What is this select board? And again, This is nothing about anybody individually. This is the select board, a group of 5 people that go back. I was telling Lenka, I didn't know this. This select boards go back to the before the colonies in England, and you all were church wardens. You ultimately were the ones that decided how the church was going to fund the poor, and it got chaotic because every decision was made every other week. You all met every other week to decide on just different things. Actually, it was weekly, then it was every other week, and then people said, wait a minute, we have to select a few here that are going to be in charge. And that's how the select board started back in the 1800s. But anyway, so these are my questions, and obviously you're not going to answer these because I don't think, quite frankly, there are plans for this. But what is the plan for economic development in Townshend? What is the plan for renovation and restoration of this town hall? What is the plan for preservation of the town common? That is, if the church burned down, God forbid, tomorrow, what would happen to the town common? It would go to the church. It would go to whoever owns the church. Okay, but you'll tell me, I've looked at the deed, you tell me, but let me finish. What is your question about, what is your current plan for the preservation of the town common? What is your plan for citizen recruitment for the select board and other town committees? As you all know, each one of you if you had an opponent, it was one person. And that's because nobody wants to be on with it. Nobody wants to be on because it's a thankless job, because all you're doing every meeting is talking about whether or not the Girl Scouts should be charged $50 to use upstairs. Instead of looking at the global picture of economic development and this building, this historic, beautiful 1921 building, you're dealing every day with whether or not the Girl Scouts should be charged $50. Anyway, what is your plan for the continuity of information between select boards? So when Phoebe's replacement comes in, who's going to sit down with her and say, let me tell you what's happened over the last 13 years. Let me tell you what the plans are. Okay. What is the plan for the East Townshend Village revitalization? You all can see what's happening out there in front of this building. What is your plan to conduct ongoing research and management of all the grants that are available out there? Nobody's doing that, and there are millions of dollars worth of grants that could come our way if somebody was in charge of that. And there are others, but I'm going to leave it at that. And so, Sherwood, please tell me what I'm getting wrong about the town common, because I looked at the deed 2 days ago. So you tell me what I'm missing.
You gave a brief synopsis of 9 years from 2014 to 23 of what the select board has said. 13, okay, whatever it is. And if we sat down, I could probably give you a pretty good idea of exactly what was in the meaning of what was said. Between the financial stuff was we got out of doing auditors and we went into having professional auditors. In 2014, I'm not exactly sure of what that meant by the board that was here, because I believe in 2014 there was Kip Martin, as knowledgeable as anybody as far as town history, Irv Stoll, Kathy Hagee, myself, and I don't remember exactly who the third person, I think, was Kyle LaPointe. No, it was Kyle LaPointe before Will Bissonette.
Okay, got it.
All right, so I got the facts, Cory. They're just up here. I got to rattle them around a little bit, but every now and then they come together. So if you take and you put them all together, there is a reason why some of that stuff was said. What every bit of it was said, I'm not sure exactly why, but there's a reason as it goes through. But it's a lot easier to sit there and say all the different things of the town that are a problem compared to figuring out how to get to the root of the problem. And then diving into it. So yes, you're not the first person in the town of Townshend that has brought a pamphlet to us and telling us all the different problems. Well, you know what? You could be the first person to try to help rectify all the different problems by putting your best foot forward. Instead of telling us about the grants, go after the grants. Instead of telling us how to line everything up and get it to work right, help us. Show us. Give us the guidelines of making it work. I love working for you, and ever since you started doing work on your place, I thought it was great. And it's like, I've helped you in any way that you can. help us. Don't come down and tell us all the things that are wrong.
And-
Come down and freaking put your best foot
And
forward.
maybe this has all been lost because every single communication I've sent you, everyone said, put me to work. Tell me
Yes, but
what
my
to do
point
for you.
is that
Every single
we have to
communication.
be the
And I've
ones-
heard nothing.
Yeah, but we are the ones that have, you're telling us of the grants. It's like, we're not telling you of the grants that we could get.
But, Rob, I appreciate that. And let me tell you, if I have the authority, if Sherwood, like, and the other boards of Cory, I want you to start working on the grants. I'd go for it, but I can't do that.
Nobody's
That's
gonna
not
tell
the way
you
it
to
works.
not gather
You
the
gotta
knowledge.
have the town do that. The town, somebody officially with the town has to do that. If I could do it, trust me, I'd start tomorrow for you guys. I think you could get millions of dollars. But it just, I'll give you another example of something that really piqued my interest when I first came in here. I think I heard one of these folks over here said, how come the gazebo hit us like this? How come we weren't maintaining this through all these years, and how come we don't have a plan? How come there is not money to purchase a fire truck? Because nobody planned for it. There was no planning by this select board, and that is replete in the minutes. No planning, lack of planning. And I'm here to help. I am not, as I said it in my most recent communication to you guys yesterday, I'm not a government gadfly that just wants to come in and put me to work. Put me to work, and I will do whatever you want to help you help yourselves, to help me keep my taxes low.
When you're talking about the trailer that's down here and the guy's house over here and everything else, we looked into what people thought of zoning in this town, I believe it was 5 to 6 years ago.
6 years ago.
And it got shot down heavily.
6 years ago, Rob.
6 years ago. That's
almost a decade.
6 years.
So,
Okay.
Right.
Also-
Yeah, but just because you lived in a town doesn't mean the demographic changed, Cory.
Okay.
also, I just wanna
Things have changed.
update some facts, because, and I see you. So, I hear you, and I've been on the select board, as you know, for a short amount of time. I'm also very proud in a short amount of time what together we've accomplished and continue to accomplish. Because a lot of the things you're talking about, we're actively like working to deal with. The state of the roads, more important
And
than,
mention roads, but okay, that's good. Roads is not one of my issues. You guys
Yeah,
are,
guess
you
what?
guys are doing roads well.
Guess what?
But you're not doing economic revitalization. You're not
roads-
saving this building well.
hold on. Roads aren't your issue, because roads are the issue of the town's people.
Well, I know that, As you saw, about 2 hours ago,
Hold on.
I sent you a picture of a truck that flipped
Right.
over in a ditch
Totally.
because it wasn't filled
Can I
on
finish?
Westfield Road.
So, what we work on is trying to talk to people about the roads, because that is their concern, that we are actively, readily dealing with. Things like,
That's 1/15 of your responsibility.
can I finish? So things like, what is the name of a road? How do we maintain the gazebo? How do we now own the land of the common so that a group of dedicated people can put a town consensus together to build a gazebo that matters? Whereas I believe some of the reason that the gazebo fell apart is because some people didn't really like the fact that it was a prop from a movie, etc., whatever it is.
So people consciously let it go to.
Not consciously, that's not what I'm just saying, I appreciate that now there's a group of people who can collaborate and talk about what do we want this common to look like.
Absolutely.
We now signed a deed, well, a deed was however it is, that we now own that land, the town owns that land. Is this building a problem? Yes, we're trying to come up with ways to rent out the space, make it more accessible. So I hear that that's 1/15 of our responsibility, and in my experience, I've heard from the town people that the condition of their roads, water pouring into their backyards, that is really important. Economics is a whole other part of it, and there are members of town governance that really focus on doing that part. Could we improve on it? Absolutely. Do we have directions to go? Yes. Is it important to listen to the people of the town and what voice and what concerns they're bringing? absolutely. And so to me, as a select board member, in the short amount of time I've been here, I'm really proud of the movement that we've made forward as a select board in a very short amount of time. I love your passion. I think it would be great if you brought us a list of grants that this town could realistically.
I would love to do that, but I can't. I've looked into it. It has to come from the chairman of this board or from a town manager.
But you could give us the list of some of the grants that we can then go after.
I could do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, and my name is Dr. Beth Arbolino. I'm a project manager. I'm somewhat retired, teach it, but work with 2 different municipalities in Illinois. And I hear the problems, that you're saying. I have a solution for the board, and I did this in the town that I lived in many moons ago. We needed, at the time, we needed a website. And what we did was, because we didn't have the resources, we couldn't do it, I pulled together a group of 5 professionals, volunteers from the town, that came together. And it wasn't just the website, we also needed to put in the entire infrastructure for Ethernet and wireless and the whole bit. And so I asked for volunteers in the local newspaper, and I got 5 volunteers, and they came in, they designed the entire website and the internet, and we got, the thing going. So what I'm suggesting is that kind of a cross between, for both of you, is allow the town, or have the town petition people to see if there's anyone who's interested in volunteering on sitting on a committee. And, I should be careful here, but I'd be willing to head the committee. I'm a project manager. I've got my master's and PhD in this. I've also got my undergrad in IT. I could help lead that committee. And what it requires is first, from the board, as the select board, would be you to sponsor, not necessarily financially, but to sponsor, to support this committee. And then we would sit down and we would plan and we'd identify what exactly we want to target, because you had like 6 or 7 items you want to target. So we would prioritize and we would look at, see what is most important, or maybe take a vote with the town. What would you like to see different? Maybe it's economic growth, or maybe it's, whatever, tax rebates, or whatever the case. You prioritize it, and then you plan it.
100%.
And once you plan it, then you execute, and you monitor as you're executing, and then when you're done, you work on the next one. I'll just say this, and I should be careful, because whenever you volunteer, it can grow. But I'd be willing to help the town. When I came here in December, I thought, okay, there's something I want to do, and I know a link I offered to, and I talked to Rob tonight about working on the emergency preparedness plan. But if this is something that you are looking to do as a board to help, first identify what exactly our goals are, and then to help, like I said, prioritize them, and then recruit the town, because you have a wealth of expertise out there, and it doesn't require people spend 30 or 40 hours a week on it. What we do is we meet once a week and we sit down and we work through it. And as
I think it should be said, you guys are actually, Cory, Beth, you're actually having a conversation across someone who's doing all of these things you're describing.
So I think that,
Yeah.
I'm willing to contribute some of my time to do this, and as a project manager, help organize it.
And the board has no problem forming committees, commissioning
Yeah,
committees.
and I think that's what, I'm sure the board, everyone here wants
think
to
that
see.
It might take some organization and then come back to the board. Something tells me this is the spark we needed, is
Yeah,
right
sure,
here.
so, this is what I do for a living, so I'd be happy to.
Go ahead.
A lot of what you're saying, I do believe that, John could tell me better. Isn't that what the planning commission does? Like almost 90% of what she just said is pretty much a planning commission situation, isn't it?
Yeah, I can answer for it, yes. The The planning
Well, I
commission.
knew that you could answer, I was asking
The
John,
planning
not
commission,
Cory.
They have done their job. First, they committed to a plan in 2017. Almost every one of my 8 objects are on their plan. And the select
When I came
board
to
has
town
done
in
nothing.
2020, look at what the plan was then. Because it's changed 3 times.
It's changing now. It changes every 6 years.
Okay, so, but now it feels weird,
We're
I have
having
to say.
a
Now it
long-term
feels-
planning commission that changes every 6 years. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, and now, Cory, Cory,
Oh, hey, come on.
8, I'm wrong, 8 years.
Cory.
Every 8 years, the
Cory.
town plan
Listen.
changes.
Cory.
So the plan we're dealing with now is 7 years old.
hey, Cory, so it shifted now for me that you're pointing out to people in the room who are doing their jobs and pointing to us saying we're not doing our
You're
jobs.
not.
Great, so that's where the conversation shifts for me, as somebody who's like working hard in a volunteer position to do my best. So that's for me personally, I have to say, like, can we shift this to be more productive? Instead of you literally pointing, saying he's doing his
Yes,
job
select
and
board,
we're
let
not.
me help you follow on John's plan.
Awesome.
That has been in place for 7 years.
Give us a list of grants that we could apply for, like this Sherman-Williams grant you're talking about. All these other things that we don't really know about. I'm not saying write them. I'm saying
I can do that.
Great, thank you. That would be awesome.
And if you're looking for, someone to kind of pull together, sounds like you have a
Perfect.
committee to do
Love
it.
it.
Call me,
Great.
I'd be happy to give you my name, and Lincoln knows my name and number.
We
I'd
take
be happy-
volunteers.
I'd be happy to pull this together into a project plan that could also itemize and break it down so that each time they meet, regardless of whether someone comes off the board or on the board or off the committee and on the committee, what happens is you have the plan in place. Once you have the plan in place, think of this, and I know this is going, but Sagrada de Familia is a cathedral in Spain.
Very
Took
familiar.
over 125 years to build that. I can guarantee you that the same people who started it are not there today. What I'm saying is that once you have a plan in place, it doesn't matter if the stakeholders are the same that are sponsoring it, as long as you have a plan and there's continuity, it should still see fruition of the final deliverables and the scope. So,
Absolutely.
Cody, I'm happy to work with you because you list a lot of different things. But again, it's up to the town to prioritize what points or what goals you want to accomplish first, second, and third. And that's really, I mean, you've got a lot of great ideas, but it's important that you pull together into a project plan so that everyone knows. And then what happens is instead of you coming here and saying, this isn't done, we'll sit here after our committee meeting and say, guess what? We've done this, we've done that, we've done this,
100%.
we've investigated all of these grants. Select board, we would like to pursue these 3 grants, but we need your approval. So the goal is not necessarily to come here and say, oh gosh, this isn't, working. The goal is to sit down and say, this is what we want to do, this is where we need your help. You all will make the decision, say, yes, we could support you in that or not, and then we move forward. It's very, very methodical.
I'm with you. 100%.
Go ahead, Laura.
Well, I was just wondering, I mean, instead of instead of going with the planning commission, which they're, as they say, they're doing the job, why not choose a grant writing commission?
special
A
committee.
grant searching committee,
It
something
can-
like that.
Well,
And then-
that's-
It can go either way.
Yeah.
And the gazebo committee is a good example of what you can do. It's
Yeah.
just a matter of whether it's appointed by the board or whether it's an ad hoc group that comes in and, gives a presentation of what they want to do and what they're going to do.
But I think that one of the things that I'm hearing Cody say, and from my own experience, is that the sponsor of any committee, yes, if we just go off and form our own, that's not necessarily we're not gonna have a sponsor. Anyone can go and say we're gonna form a committee. What I'm hearing is that it would be helpful if the select board appoints a committee, and it could be called, I don't know, the
Townsend Progress Committee. And by the way, we need a project manager, and Beth Arlino is volunteered to help manage the project. And if it's sponsored by the select board, then the committee itself will have a backing, if you might say. And sponsorship isn't always financial. It just means that here's a sponsor that understands the vision and the mission and is willing to support it.
All right.
Well, I've been writing.
And then many things as they come up could go to that committee, because, you know, like you did the gazebo. There's so many things on his list, and there'll be new things in the future. You could easily shift to that committee and say, we need volunteers.
Go ahead.
I don't want to backtrack us or anything. I'm listening to what's going on, but I've been taking some notes here while we've been having this discussion. I think that something I want to point out is that there is a lot of grant writing and grant, people looking for grants that goes on every single day between Jeremy and Connie. The town did send Connie to a class and learn how to do that, and that is something that they actively do several hours a week, every single week, because our roads are a humongous thing that we are dealing with at all times, which is in my opinion, one of the #1 things that we should be dealing with. People need to go to work, they need to go to the hospital, they need to get their medicine, they need to get their checks, they need their roads, and they need to have those roads passable. It's just absolutely not safe otherwise. And one of our biggest issues that I've now been on the board for 2 years has been employee retention, which is not unique to Townsend. My husband works at the post office. He's been there 5 years. He worked alone for several of those years between delivering the mail, running the office in here and in Wardsboro, and dealing with all of that. We are not alone in our employee retention. And I do have to point out that one of the biggest accomplishments that I've felt over the past 2 years that we have done as a board is we have worked really hard to figure out how to pay our employees better so that we can retain employees, not just for a pass-through, but for several years, and give them a good living, give them insurance. And that is a humongous thing that we've been dealing with. And now our town, especially our road crew, is one of the highest paid in the state, and we still have had trouble maintaining and retaining employees. And so, you know, that's not unique to us, but we can't even pay you enough to, like, you know, that's just how it is right now. One of those concerns, everyone that comes in, we interview them. How far away do you live? If you're not on the board or in one of the positions that are elected, you know, it's not sustainable if you live 45 minutes away in good weather to come and work for us. So we need to have a town where people can live and work. And we need to have a town that respects that, i.e. like, you know, if you put some zoning on my property, I don't know how I would feel about that, because even though my house is beautiful, it's from 1805. I can't live, you know, I might not be able to live and work in this town if we started putting certain standards on people who live and work here. And we need to be respectful of that. Like Phoebe was saying, there is a balance we definitely need to keep. Same with the history of our town, with changing roads, with changing the name of, you know, deciding who pays for their time at the town hall and who doesn't. I mean, this is all way older than me. I've been in Vermont 5 years and I've been in Townsend for 3 years. But I'm on the Historical Society. I do a lot of things because the history of the town is really important to me, and my respect of that history is an important thing that we deal with. Otherwise, budgeting. We're budgeting here, a core group of us, or all of us if we can, October to March. And one of the ways that we've been able to pay our employees more is because we went line by line, every single thing that we pay for with our taxes in this town. And we cleaned it up, and we, you know, shored it up, and we said to ourselves, is this, you know, is this real? Do we need to be paying this? How much and we did that October to March, which for a person who's not really getting paid to be here, being here that much, that was a lot of work. And we'll do it again, and we'll do it every year. And that's what this board actually does. I can't speak for what any other board did, and I'm sure they did their best because the town budget is difficult, but that's what we did. And so I'm not saying that we don't need help, because actually the forming of this committee got me to thinking there are a very long list of different appointments that happen in our town, from the Wyndham Regional Committee to the measure of fences, where if you start looking at that list and the people on it, you have Rob, you have his wife, you have Alenka, you have Alenka's husband, you have a lot of repeat people, because we're lacking in volunteers big time. So I urge you, if you want to form a committee or if you want to look into this, be in it. Be in it, because that's what we need. And I do think, yeah, we need more variety, we need more people to come. I have been thrilled because over the past 6 months, a lot of it had to do with the roads, but people are coming to the meetings. And I can actually see who I'm talking about or who I'm talking to. Before it was like, nobody. Now people are coming. You gotta be here, and if you're gonna do it, do it. And that's what I'm trying to do, and that's what everyone else that's here is trying to do. And I mean, we're doing it. And I'm proud of us, and I think it's great.
Can I ask you guys, you corrected me before about the town common. Can you tell me how I erred in that? And how that 1802
If we waited a little bit and got through the meeting, we'd answer your question.
But it's dealing with the
If you waited,
1802 provision.
if you waited,
It's not on here, so it's not on your agenda, so I didn't know that.
We
Okay, let me
approved
look at the agenda
so
here.
we approved the minutes
right
of
here.
the October whatever meeting. There was a deed sign over to the town.
But a deed means nothing if there is a proviso that goes back to 1802 that runs with the land. And that's what is going on here with this common.
Except in Vermont statutes, when a property has been maintained in good order by a community, it becomes the ownership of that community. So in two different situations, the town has now claimed that property. It belongs to the town. That will allow the gazebo committee to put their gazebo anywhere they want. The three living members of that family. And when it goes back, when the meeting house and the church fails, that property reverts to the survivors of the original owner. And since those three survivors signed the property over to the town, have no claim to it, we own it. And that's just the way it's going to be.
So from your lips to God's ears, but I will tell you that the proviso that runs the land that was recorded in 1802, that supersedes everything. The Vermont statute you're talking about, I've never heard that. I've never heard that you can.
In mine, it's not going to be very good.
I never heard squatters' rights for a church property.
Here's a quick claim deed that we signed the other day, and we want to explain some of it.
All right, so now I'm going to speak. Economic development. Economic development in this town has always been an issue, and I don't see that it's going to change. We haven't got a lot of, we don't have a lot of people coming out. We don't have a lot of commercial space. Renovations of the town hall. Now, this has been going on for years. This building, no matter how many times you want to say it, is not historic. This building replaced a building that burnt down in 1911. As a matter of fact, the man that sat right over in that chair signing over the property, aunt, paid to build this building, along with that building, along with the school. Not that school, but a different school. All right? And this building conservatively is going to be in the millions of dollars to fix, because not only was there an issue in this study that was done that was incomplete, the biggest issue that I can see that's going to cost us the most money is going to be the wiring that needs to be ripped out of here. Nobody has taken that into consideration. Every light socket, every on and off switch, every piece of light or electricity in this building has got to be removed. There is between 2.5 and 4 feet of insulation that those old wires are blown into on the 3rd floor of this place. Okay? These tin roofing, decorative tin roofing, they get pulled down. There's not a tinsmith around that can fix them or replicate them. So it's going to have to go into conservatorship. There are screens upstairs for the theater that are well over 100 years old. If they get damaged, there is no replacing them. So you tell me where we're going to get $10 million or more to fix this building.
The Western report said 2 million.
I don't care what they said. I have read both of them. And you can't tell me after 6, 8, 10 years that the cost of the building went down when everything else was going up. And that report was produced before everything turned in January. So the 2x4 was $20 a piece. Okay? I don't care what the Wesson report's got to say. There's been nothing that's been produced to this board or any other board that matches what it's going to cost to do this building. If I had to pay $10 million to do this building, I'd say knock it down and put one that's more reasonable in its place, that doesn't leak heat like these windows do, that's wide open, that we can't put an HVAC system in there, we can't put an emergency generator online, we can't put an elevator so people can get to the 2nd floor. So I'm sorry, Cory, you didn't do your research.
Well, yes, I did. Now you're attacking me personally. Let me tell you what I did.
Time out.
We've also asked you to tell Charlie Martian and Katie Merrill that this building isn't historic.
Time out.
Tell them to their face.
You started screaming before. It's my
I'm just talking about it. I'm not screaming.
Well, it didn't sound like
Well, I
Town hall, taken care of. Preservation of the
What's the
commons.
answer to the town hall? What is your, knock it down? That's your answer? Knock it down?
That's the answer.
Okay, that's the answer, knock it down. Katie, go
If
back
it's
and
gonna
tell your
cost
historical society to tear it
$10
down.
million or more,
That's $10 million is ridiculous. The Western report said 1.3, that was 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So now it's 2. It's not 10. Come on, $10 million. What a ridiculous figure.
Yeah.
Cory, if you're not gonna listen, we're done with this. Let's move on.
It should be brought before the
You know,
town.
Bring it before the town.
Study up on those things. Actually, it sounds to me like
Put
there's
your
a
money where your
lot of,
mouth is. Go for it.
Absolutely.
there's a lot
I'm
of,
willing to donate.
Well,
Are you
there.
trying to talk?
10 million?
Lee, are you trying to were you trying to get your voice heard?
No.
I could hear you speaking
No,
and
I was
everybody
commenting
drowning
to
you
him.
out.
I just told
Why
him to put his
would you
money where his mouth
analyze
is.
Okay.
to him?
And
All
he
right.
said he would donate, so
so,
Okay.
pin him down.
I'm gonna close that at it right now, and I'm gonna move on to the rest of the meeting
So you're
because
not gonna get to the 6 points?
I'm not gonna go through any of it.
Okay, can you
I'm
send me a
done.
letter?
What's that?
Can you send me a letter in response?
No,
You haven't responded to me once.
I don't intend
So I've
to.
sent you letters.
Laura, what are you trying to
I've
ask
asked you to be in touch with me.
I was just wondering if there's going to be a committee assigned or.
I am gonna ask Connie to follow up with, how do you pronounce your name?
Beth, Dr. Beth Harlan.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Connie to follow up with you, so make sure she has your phone number.
Absolutely.
And we'll go
Like
from
as
there.
it is,
There's a couple of different ways we can do it. That'll be,
I would be happy with that follow-up to be open to putting a motion at the next meeting. I don't want to make a motion when I haven't even made a conversation with you.
Yeah.
So there's definitely things we can take action on, like making motions. I don't feel like I would be doing my role as a select board member to make a motion without
agree.
conversations beforehand.
I agree.
But we have another meeting on the 24th.
Can our committee recommend, like,
Well, we haven't made a motion for a committee yet.
Can we look into like maybe this board thinking about a town administrator, like a Connie Holt type person to just take charge and do what you're doing on a day-to-day basis? I mean, is that, I didn't mean to.
I think we actually already have that person and they're doing an amazing job.
that?
Not a
That's-
town administrator, we have
Town
a
administrator.
select board
Oh, I see.
assistant.
We had a vote years ago about a town administrator, town manager, select board,
Yeah.
body of governance.
2018.
And it was turned down, that
Yeah.
people wanted them, even the select board
It's a
said
lot
they
of
wanted
money.
a select board.
Yeah,
It
it's a lot
wasn't
of
so
money.
much the amount of money.
Paying someone 70.
Was that at the town meeting?
It was at the town meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was six- it voted
It was turned
67
down.
67 people voted no, 29 people voted yes.
And how many people would be interested in doing that job?
Exactly. I mean, if I was 20 years younger, maybe, but I'm trying to retire.
And it's costly.
Yeah.
They don't work.
That's the
Yeah.
other challenge, is
You're looking at-
finding the actual employee.
You guys
And livable
do it.
wage and et cetera. Yeah, it's to be to live in, it's difficult. I mean, this isn't a town that I can afford to live
That's why
in.
a town needs more people that are willing to help them.
Right.
More people willing to contribute their time and energy towards making it better without loading it all on this table.
And please communicate with me. I'm really, sure, when I send you an email, please text back to me, say, Cory, shut up, that's
Say,
not
"Cory."
good.
I'm not even gonna go there right now, because so many things of what you said were not real. They might have been what you read, but you cited one thing about the continuity of the select board.
Yeah.
Wasn't in your memo that everyone except for him, I had conversations with the very first day they started. What they could do, how they can do it. I passed on in private conversations with every one of them what it is that their job was. Okay? And I don't,
I appreciate that, sir.
I do
I'm
too.
talking about what the Vermont League of Cities does. They do a full week of indoctrination into all select board members. These people have never had that. You haven't had it. So I'm
where
just.
did you get that?
This is.
It's also like, it's complicated in that
I know it is.
we're full-time professionals, and
Absolutely.
for us to all be in a room together talking about things, like, even that gets complicated when you have towns members who are meeting with 2 to 3 people, and
Absolutely.
people saying that it's a select board meeting. Like, it's not as cut and dry as I wish it feels like your thinking is, in the sense of like, oh, just fix it. I really wish it was that easy. I can tell you there is a for sale sign on the trailer. The house is also for sale. But I can also tell you it's
I might buy
likely,
and put 3 or 4 trailers there.
as a former kitty
They will.
corner resident, I can tell you that it's likely to be turned into Airbnb apartment rentals. And great, good for the town, horrible for people who need to find a place to live,
Yeah.
such as myself. I am leaving this town because my rental is up, and I don't have a place to live. There's no affordable rentals. And I can contact Airbnb owners and say, could you rent it to a educator who lives in the area? And they say, absolutely not.
So where are you going?
Anyway, that's not, we can touch base later, Laura.
Let's move on to the rest of the business that we've got to take. Katie, go ahead with the warrants.
Oh, excuse me, but my name isn't on here, but I actually didn't come for all of this. I do have something, I promise I'll make it very short, sweet.
Okay.
Short anyway.
No, I'll be short. So, put my mind. I'm requesting that some additional caution signs be put up for 2 culverts, and I understand culverts are a hot topic here, but 2 culverts on State Forest Road, until they can get prioritized to be fixed, I'm asking some additional signage that doesn't walk away, because we've put up cones and Bill's helped out. And I actually went to Route 30 and they gave me a cone to put there. But there are 2 culverts that are about 3 feet deep on the side of the road. Here's some pictures and I'll pass them along. I'm just asking for right now, so that the risk is mitigated and the liability is minimized, that we get some kind of caution signs there. So that, because when like right now you can see them very well, but not at night, and when it rains or when it snows, it looks like it's just a little puddle when it's actually 3 feet deep. And I'm very concerned that someone's gonna go into that and get hurt. So,
Looks to me like if they got into it, they'd be off the road.
well, no, that is the road, because it's the
Well, no, I'm
road
saying
and the
that-
mountain. And all along the State Forest Road, it's solid, except for these two spots, and and when I called, they said, oh, that's a culvert, so I kinda went down there and I looked, and I said, oh, I see, it's a culvert. It's just eroded so bad. So we put cones out, they kept disappearing, so I finally went to, I was down in about 30, and I asked one of the workers if I could get one of their big cones. So that's what you see in the picture there, the one in front of my home. But the other culvert is even worse than the one in front of mine. And I know to avoid it, but we have a lot of campers, and if one of those, if you try and, two cars passing each other, if one goes in there, they'll never, it'll crash. So I'm just asking for right now, because I understand culverts are a hot topic and mudslides are worse than these two. If we could just get some caution signs up there until those can be fixed, I'd appreciate it.
Jeremy, do you know that spot?
That was pretty short, Steve. Well done.
It reminds me of some of the spots on like coming down your
The
hill.
whole road's like this.
No,
Yeah.
these are,
The problem with State Forest Road is you have a sheer mountain on one side.
right.
And you have to have a ditch line. Put a culvert in, you have to get it so many feet deep.
I understand, I'm not asking for a culvert right now to be fixed. I understand you've got a lot of other priorities. I'm asking for some of those big triangular signs so people don't crash into them. That's all I'm asking for. The culverts, when you prioritize them, is up to you in the town, and there's a lot of work and money involved, I get that. But in the meantime, to minimize the risk and the potential for liability with the town, I'm asking that we put some signs that cannot walk away in or at these culverts so people won't get hurt. That's all I'm asking for. And then when you can prioritize them, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Just look into it,
Thanks.
see what you say.
I will take a look at it tomorrow
Thank
and come up with something.
Thank you,
Thanks so much,
Jeremy.
I appreciate that.
All right.
On the warrants?
Yeah, go with warrants.
All right, I'd like to make a motion to pay the warrants. Number one, payroll in the amount of $12,489.19. Number two, payroll taxes in the amount of $4,955.28. Number three, general fund in the amount of $20,866. Number four, general fund in the amount of $64,796.79. Number five, highway in the amount of $1,149.74. Number six, highway equipment in the amount of $21,109.68. Number seven, ARPA in the amount of $319,952.13 for total warrants of $445,318.81.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have any discussion?
Yes, quick question. On the payroll taxes, this is the form to sign, and there's two columns. This one is purchase amount and this one is amount paid. This purchase amount is the number that's listed here, but the amount paid is
One of
this.
them has to do with what is electronically transmitted to the
Okay.
government.
Cool, great.
That's the difference.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that it was set. And then the other piece is the social services. I appreciate that the town makes that dedication to social service.
They,
Passed it at town meeting.
I appreciate, so you appreciate that.
Well,
any further comments?
same.
All those in
I
favor?
appreciate that we put all that money there.
Aye.
Oh, actually, no, I should abstain, because you pay my employer in that.
Okay.
Aye.
All right. So 4, 0, and 1. Or 1, 0, and 4, whatever. You said it.
Good record
Yes, I
on
said-
NFL right now.
All right, off we go.
All warmed up.
All right, in the true fund balance in the treasurer's report is $255,700. And the actual in-bank funding, what's in the day's closure of funds, $1,421,400. $512.94 with the original, the usual $30,000 in taxes, or in checking account, thank you. The money that's taken at the counter for services, Lenka has $908. All right, now, quick claim, resolution, okay. Before I do that, do you have something specific?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm waiting for number 8C.
8C.
So patient.
Stone Richford.
So patient.
Oh, okay.
I did it first.
It's coming.
All of this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so, couple of things. One that's not listed into the chair's report, but, because I didn't get it in time. But we'll talk about quitclaim deed from, Mr., what was it, Boardman. His family, has deeded, or signed quitclaim deed, so they have no hold on the property, and if the meeting house fails, that's the trigger for it, but it won't go anywhere but to the town in perpetuity. And I made, one of the sisters had made a request that this piece of property never be sold, that it's for public park. And I told her that it would go down in the record, so as soon as Alenka registers it, we can add that.
Do you want to add anything about how Rob was virtually a part of that signing?
No, we stayed with
Said
four
it in
and
a
all.
minute.
Okay.
Because we couldn't
Got it.
hear him at the time.
Got it, okay, just,
Okay, and then the other one is the resolution that was adopted by the select board on Friday, accepting the piece of property as part of the town's property holdings. All right, next thing.
Sure, we need to do the highway report.
Oh, yeah, I skipped right over it. Sorry, Jeremy. I'll give this last thing and then you could go right to it. The town, I started a Facebook page for emergency management. So now you can go onto Facebook, you can look for Townshend Emergency Management. And what I'm putting in there is just things like storm track. And if there are suggestions for, like a, somebody that's gonna have to hold up for a couple of days, what to have, water, fill up the tub. Those types of suggestions will go in there. There won't be any political statements or anything like that. It's just simply to notify as many people as we can that something's happening, gonna happen.
What about on road closures?
We can do that.
I think that would
Feeling
be
safer
helpful.
already.
Well, I think people discuss a lot of the road closures like in Facebook groups, and I think it gets out
The
of
problem
hand.
with that is that people get on there and instead of contacting the proper person to come take care of it, or anybody, they get on there and get everybody detoured.
But you
Meanwhile.
can- Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
You've got
just
more to say than
saying,
I do. Fire away. No,
Turn the
you got,
comments off.
I'm just saying that when people are, they go to go home and they find out their road is closed or something.
part of living in Vermont.
Not talking about discussing it. I'm talking about, it's a fact.
Well, my part is it's a fact that if you take care of the problem, there won't be a problem, so you won't have to detour.
No, I'm not saying that the roads should never be closed or whatever. I'm
Well,
saying.
I'm just saying that
a
if you
piece of
contact the proper
information.
person, it'll get taken care of and there won't be a detour.
Right.
Okay. Before we beat the deck out of that, Jeremy, what do you got going on?
Well, paving will continue through Friday. They should be wrapped up on Route 35 from Route 30 to Valley Cares. Hopefully that'll make the conditions a little better up through there.
Did you get somebody to deal with the structures?
Yep, we had a few structures we had to rebuild. but they were done and completed this today, so
Okay.
they will be on schedule for paving.
Now, are they gonna pave it right off?
They're starting tomorrow morning.
Wow,
Wow,
that's quick.
They
Okay,
are 2 months behind, so they're moving.
What's the over-under for cars parked in the way?
I got it coned off pretty good right now, so we'll see.
I'm going with 5.
I had 3 yesterday morning. I had to knock on doors. I don't think some people were happy, but
if they don't steal your signs.
yes.
Were you able to get in touch with that guy?
I talked to Mike today.
Yeah.
He sent me some an email stuff, and I just gotta figure out what I need, and then they can order stuff.
There also might be the possibility of, the state, and the state, building and general services to buy signs at what the state gets them at.
Okay.
So, that's all web type stuff. Okay?
Do you have that contact info, or
No, but we'll find it.
I got some photos I can.
Okay. How about the trucks?
All trucks are back except for the one. The spare truck's still at Catamount.
The 1 ton?
1 ton is back, but we're waiting on a brake line. I'm just gonna repair it.
Okay.
Other than that, everything's in good working order.
Good. You guys got that in, just 1 second. You guys got that stuff put back together in quick order?
What's?
The equipment?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, I missed a few meetings, as you know, so, is Jeremy our foreman now, our road
What would you
foreman?
guess?
Kinda seems like he is.
I would follow that instinct.
Okay, all right, just checking. I didn't know if he was just, interim foreman or what was going on. All right.
No, we have a full crew now.
As
Really?
of starting Monday, we will have a full crew.
We got 5 guys.
Poor guys.
4.
4 guys, sorry.
5 would be nice.
5 would be nice.
Got Eddie?
Your home phone number?
Oh, is there, I wanted to ask about Wyndham Hill Road. That looks wild.
Oh, sorry, I was gonna bring that up. Yes, there was an accident up there last Thursday night. Took out about 150 feet of guardrail. They had to close the road Friday to recover the truck, and there will be another road closure coming at some point to finish the cleanup. I'm just not sure. I'm waiting to hear from the company on back, because they're waiting to hear from their insurance company to see what has to happen. Because it's so far down over the bank, they're gonna have to bring a crane in to get the rest of the stuff out of there, and which would require a road closure. But as soon as I know something, I will let Sherwood know, he can post it. And
And you said you were gonna order Jersey barriers for that spot? Is
I
that gonna
talked
work?
to Basin, they have them, they're just waiting for me to get them here, because there's some shoulder repair that needs to be done before I can do Jersey barriers. But there will be something in place before we fix the banner alley.
I saw it took like a chunk out of the center of the road there.
Yeah. Minimal damage to the pavement,
Yeah,
maximum damage to the guardrail.
yeah, definitely.
Would it benefit us to have some Jersey barriers, or is it just easier for them to deliver them?
We have, I know of 5 of them, but they're kind of buried right now. It's in my plan to pull them out and have them readily available.
Okay.
So we're trying to play catch up right now, so.
Anything else for,
Laura's got another question.
Go
I have
ahead.
a question. Why is there a junk car over at the highway garage? That's been there for a very long time.
That, I believe, would be a question for the fire department.
Yeah, it's
Is there
a donated vehicle to practice the extrication tools. So just basically cutting it up.
Oh, okay.
So
That makes sense. I was just, what?
they've done 4 or 5 of them, all different types of cars. That one's just,
So it just stays there until they can't tear apart anymore and then it gets all the way.
it hasn't been chopped up enough yet.
Oh, gotcha.
I don't think so. We're working on it.
Curious.
I like the hands-on.
About the only way you can get, you can get training with that.
Can you
type of
announce it on the Facebook page when they're gonna do it so people can go watch?
Okay, let's see.
Gallery.
What was that? All right, I think we've gotten through all of those. Road name change. Here we are.
Okay.
Back again.
All right, so at the last meeting, I read through the whole policy. You can go back to that if you are curious what every line is. I did make a couple adjustments. I just added the definition. A historic road shall mean any road on the state of Vermont's historic registry. And then I altered, or I edited some of my numbering that was messed up. I think that was it. So at this time, I'd be happy to talk to you guys about any adjustments that might need to be made or any questions, or maybe even vote, if the chairman would be so.
Is there any questions for Rob?
I don't really have a question, but I got more of a statement. That I think changing any of the road names, you know, once is one thing, twice, we're gonna get into a situation where I don't think that you guys really realize how many private roads there are in the town once you go from one end to the other. And if we get into a situation where each time a piece of property changes hands, that all of a sudden they want to change the name, one, I think it's extremely detrimental to the mapping of things, because you have one, yes, the Townshend Fire Department and anybody else that's going to be going there, and they might have one map, but now you have to get all the other towns involved in this mapping program and make sure that everybody's in unison with each other, as where they're already in unison with 911 the way it is. So it's like for each time that there's changes, now everybody's going to make sure every map that they have is disregarded and a new map is put in. So now you're going through all the different agencies, all the different volunteers and all the other stuff. And I think that that is more detrimental than it is to have, you know, a name that whoever the person that owns the property doesn't like or whatever. And I'm saying that as somebody that's lived on a private road for years. And
I wonder if, sorry, were you done?
yeah,
I wonder if that is something we could potentially add to the rules, because you've sort of created some outlines of, you know, historic roads aren't eligible. I know it's difficult to put a time amount on it, but it is valid of what you're saying of the amount of updating that needs to go into mapping, emergency factors, road crew information, etc. That if there could be a limit on the amount of, like, I'm just throwing, don't take my words as literal, but like over the course of 10 years, some limitation that it can't occur super often. I don't know how to wordsmith that.
No, I agree with that concern in particular has been my major concern as well. I think that the wording in the policy is that it is at the discretion of our E911 coordinator.
Right.
They have multiple steps to go to, so if it makes it past that person, then it comes to the board. And, well, sorry, if it makes it past that person, it has to go to the actual GIS specialist with dispatch, who is going to be really cognizant of what you're saying, Rob. Like, if it's changing maps, if it's changing things that they have to go in and do really technical stuff, I have no clue. And then also each department, each smaller department has to alter their maps. It is a problem. That's why I think that would be where the buck stops, personally. I could be wrong. But I will also add to an argument for the need to change road names is that having been in a fire truck with on those radios in these mountains, it's like, in particular, the citizen that we have who's approaching us about this, that road name change, I could see that being a thing. If you have one time to get a transmission and you mess it up, like, you could go to the wrong address. That's so very specific situations that we would deem as being emergent. I think there should be some wiggle room. Maybe there is a time constraint element to that, and I don't see why after they do change the name it would need to be changed again, because we would have made an intelligent decision to change it to something that's not like any other name.
I would just, like, if the property changed ownership and they're like, oh, now we want to put our, et cetera, but it.
And then Helen would be like,
But it sounds like the safeguard is already the E911 coordinator and the
Right.
select board.
right,
You know, which does have continuity to some extent historically, not quite as documented as Cory's record, but that there is ways that there's checks and balances so that this isn't happening on a consistent, regular basis that jeopardizes the safety. But road changes that improve resident safety definitely seem to be a priority. And you just so happen to have firsthand knowledge of like the awareness that this is a significant.
when it comes to the radios in particular, and even cell phones sometimes, but we're doing things old school sometimes, that the radios are like everywhere. Yeah, you guys are aware. But,
My other point with it is our E911 coordinator is great, but there's no guarantee she's gonna be here any longer than any of us are gonna be here. And it's like, as Cory said, and as anybody that has paid attention knows, that when it comes to our group of people that we're looking through to get volunteers from, it changes and it dwindles and people get sick of it and they stop doing it. And the things that you guys are all talking about in good faith is, yes, looking into the future, you hope that that's going to be the situation, is that the people are there and that they stay headstrong and interested and viable of what they're doing. But as history has proven, that's not the case. People are here today and they're gone tomorrow. And it's like, we're going to get into a situation where it's going to go, oh, the policy from way back when says this, and then the E911 coordinator might be totally different with a totally different set of thoughts, and all of a sudden they're all, hey, change it up. And next thing we're back to what I just got done saying, where it's like, there hasn't been a problem from emergency 911 from 20 years ago when they named the roads, and now all of a sudden we're going to get into a policy name change and possibly a road name change. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself that this is bringing on headaches and I can see it from 10 miles away. And it's like, I look at it and I think to myself that there's one person out of 1,200 that live in the town that has a problem with it. And it's like, that to me doesn't warrant jumping over the fence and jumping through hoops to get, an extreme thing going on, especially when, like I just said, where you get into changing maps. I mean, we've got a map over there with all the names on it. We've got 2 maps over there with all the road names on it, a map over there. There's 3 or 4 maps in the lister's office. There's maps everywhere. Every fire department has a map from one end of this county to the other end in the whole entire state. And it's like, you're gonna change all of it for one person that has a problem with his road name. And it's like, to me, I look at that and I like, is that really worth it?
I agree, it is a sweeping change that will affect a lot of aspects of the way we respond and the way we govern. But honestly, the fact that people like you are on the board gives me faith that in the future,
Yeah, but
there
the
will
more
be
and
a
more I
bus
come to
stop.
meetings and I see
Don't
stuff
say it.
unfold, it makes me think to myself that my time could be better used somewhere else. And I think that there's plenty of people that probably think that my time could be used other areas too. As well as there's some that think that maybe I should put some more time into it. But I mean, I put more time into it than a lot of people have. And I paid a lot more attention to it than a lot of people have, whether they're out there or here or on the TV. And it's like,
I hear your,
what I'm watching is.
I hear your argument, and I think
It's
that
true.
at this point, we have officially have something to vote on, actually. And I'll keep hearing what you have to say. And I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I'm still drawn back to that precedent. If we set a precedent of changing, I don't care if you put a rule on it, like it's gonna be minimum of 10 or 20 years. There's gonna be, 20 years from now, I'm not gonna be doing this. And nobody here is liable to be doing it. So, and I doubt Helen's going to, although you never know. So, this thing has to go to the USGIS for any structure, meaning a bridge, meaning a road, anything that's as a location has to go to the USGIS, and it takes forever to make a change. So what if we decide tonight, it might be close to a year before that name change is logged in to and into like the GPS and the mapping system. So yeah, it's not an easy answer. It sounds like an easy answer, but it's not an easy answer. So I guess let me hear a motion. We'll go from there. Or do you want to?
Can I vote on the motion on the policy that I put together?
Yes.
Okay.
You were asked to do it. You didn't do it.
Oh, yeah. Good one.
Okay.
I'm not going to bad this up to you.
So what do we do? Are we going to look at it another meeting, or are we going to make a?
I am happy to make a motion that we accept the draft road name change policy of the most recent updated version that Rob has drafted, in recognizing the select board's role to maintain the safety and historic nature of the town.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
What does that mean?
Excuse me, who?
What does that mean? That's what I'm asking.
What does this mean?
What just went on?
Nothing yet.
Just made a motion.
We made a motion that this road name change policy would be discussed and potentially adopted or not.
Okay, I have to say something, because each time I hear this and each time I come, it changes. You're inaccurate in the way that you are presenting this, okay? If it's a private road, if there is 6 other people on the private road, I get it. They all have to vote and say, I want it. When they came to the house, you keep saying 20 years, 30 years. This was back in 2013 and it was created, okay? You said it 50 times, and I don't want to hear it because you seem to have a problem with me. You in particular. You keep constantly saying
Who are
that
you,
because
sorry,
you
who
have
are
a
you
problem.
pointing at?
Well,
I don't like this. Okay.
This gentleman right here. with the hat.
Rob Wright is my name.
Here?
I don't know your name.
Rob Wright, Matthew Brody, that's what you're.
Very nice
what
to
I'm
meet you, Matthew.
Proposing with this. You're the one that keeps coming up with all these things where I'm supposed to change because you're on a private road. It's irrelevant. This is the road that we're talking about, is one family, it's in my family, there's gonna be nobody else on that road except my family. So all I'm asking, because I'm having problems with this, and in an emergency situation, no matter how many times you keep saying it, I don't really care, because if the emergency system happens, all the logic gets thrown out the window. Okay? I can't get internet, you can't get telephone, emergency services with an address is monumentally important. Okay? So all I'm asking for now is actually make a decision tonight. Vote on it, accept it,
It's
or
my
not.
decision, it's my vote on it.
So good, so vote.
So if you wait a second, we'll vote,
I want
and then you'll know.
So put it to the board to vote on what you propose, to agree or not agree. Because it's just turning into a time suck. That's all. That's all I'm asking.
I think that the motion on the table is whether or not to adopt the policy. Is that what your motion is?
It is.
All right, so that doesn't automatically say yes or no to what you had brought to us, but it would give us a guideline to vote on that down the line. I just wanted to make that clear.
If that's possible, I would say yes. Please do that.
I do have to say this, just Rob and I have these conversations as well. I understand your frustration. I don't appreciate it entirely in the moment, but I have and continue to have this issue with my own address. So I get it. I haven't taken the steps to come to the select board about registering the address as 1849 or 1889 so that I can get gas delivered. I hear the passion, I hear the frustration. I understand the difficulty of not having an address that places recognize. I've tried to express that throughout. I appreciate the discussion that we're having as a town to, same thing, preserve the historic nature of the town and also preserve the longevity of the people that lived before it, as well as in a place where there's zoning restrictions, make sure that the town maintains the way that the town wants to run. Which is why I made the motion. So,
Okay, so we...
can we vote?
Yep, we can vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any abstentions?
Aye.
Okay,
All of that anticipation.
fails.
Stop it!
Fails.
There's so much more that we need to discuss
No, I
that
don't blame you
affects
for doing that.
everybody,
I would
not
never blame
And it's not a fail, it's
Any one
that
person.
it's not a decision, right?
It's the motion failed for lack of majority. So,
Can't say we didn't try.
well, I mean, he's welcome to do whatever he wants to do. Whether he gets it registered on a map somewhere is his issue. The town is going to do things in a way that everybody is treated fairly. And if one person gets something that the others can't, it's a no-go. And if there's question about it, it's a no-go. So, that's where we are.
Thank you for working this
All right, next one.
I'm just glad we came to a decision.
Yeah.
To be completely honest.
Well, there's, I won't go in. We've got this, that's done with, we'll move on. All right, next one under old business is the common town hall policy.
Hey,
Okay,
Laura.
Hey.
So, again, this is like baby stages draft, which is why there's still highlights on it. And including everything up to the idea of what do we call the policy, such as I put the name being public rental space policy. I don't know if that's something that we want to do. But also, given that we do rent multiple spaces, such as the kitchen, the upstairs, the common, that's why I was going with that type of language. But then the actual application would tease out what space people are looking for. So that's sort of the first conversation point, is the actual name. And again, this is a draft. I am always the timely person who needs to go home because it's teacher midnight. So I don't want to turn this into an extensively lengthy debate discussion because there's still a lot of work that is going into it.
What are you looking for, Phoebe?
Well, some things, I mean, I guess just general feedback of something. Yeah, all right. My most concern with our policy is maximum capacity for this building, upstairs and downstairs. The common, I think, is a different thing because when you have an outdoor event, people come and go. It's not as much of a concern. But I think that Sherwood has mentioned that to members of the public that have requested to use the space before. So I think that adding a maximum capacity for this building particularly is important.
Thank you, that's super helpful. Yes. So some of the pieces, if moving past just the name, procedurally, in the sense of, we often get requests that life is life. People didn't fill out the application in time and it's within the fewer than 30 days of the event. So what is our process if and when somebody submits an application less than 30 days? Because we do it, we approve them. So why not actually have a process or a statement of what,
The problem with that,
even if it's vague?
the problem with that, Phoebe, is in the past, and he would know better, but that has been taken advantage of, and the rest of the board didn't have any say in yay, nay, or putting any any input. So, I mean, I will tell you that there have been some that, to me, have looked like there's nothing that would snag it. So I told them to go ahead because there was no controversy to it. It's always been granted, and then it was presented after the fact. But that doesn't happen very often.
So we could say then, applications submitted within 30 days of the event will require email select board approval, right?
No, it can't be through email, because if you have everybody discussing it on an email, that's a public meeting. And it's an unwarned public meeting, so we can't do that. It would have to be something that was like Mr. Jackson's thing on Saturday. That was actually asked to be confirmed ahead of time so they could plan. So it would have to be on a very rare type of approval.
I guess that makes me confused of our practice.
I would say that the two requests that we got over the past like 2 weeks via email that were asking to be able to advertise an event that we hadn't yet approved. I was confused about that because I have not in my short time here done that before, and I wasn't sure about it. But I did want to, I mean, like one of the event was like a school related event, and I wanted to be supportive of something like that and the need to raise funds for trips and enrichment for the children in the town and everything. But I have been confused about that because that hasn't happened before in my experience. That was new, and then it happened twice in the same 2-week period, and I was like, I'm very confused about that myself.
It is rare that it happens.
Right.
Very
right,
rare.
Right. But it does kind of lend to what you're saying, where like it's rare that it happens and then it happened twice in the same week, and did the second time, did it happen because we did it the first time? I'm not sure.
Right.
So I don't want to go down that
What happens
road.
more frequently is people submit their request prior to an upcoming select board. So most of the requests come in less than 30 days of the event, but they do come in enough time for the select board to vote on it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that
Right.
makes sense.
And that's where I'm sort of trying to get the wording of like, they can submit it within 30 days, but we haven't met, and then they don't have that 30-day wiggle, you know?
Yeah.
So, but we can come back to this to further hash it out. 'Cause yeah, that's a good conversation point. And then some of the pieces that, and again, this is like a staffing piece, but a lot of the things that I've heard as concerns are verifying event cleanup. And where, you know, us as a town, our checks and balances for post-event cleanup, and if there's excessive garbage or trash or time needed to clean. And again, this is all stuff that it will be a greater amount of conversation, which is, you know, maybe not tonight, but, so let me just see some of the other changes.
Is that an insurance issue? Like if somebody used the common and they proved their insurance, or used the building and they proved their insurance to us, and then they totally, you know, screwed the whole thing up and made a big mess, is that like, do we go after their insurance? Is that why they provide that?
The insurance is provided damage to the property.
Right.
or somebody gets hurt on the property.
Yeah, I figured
Those are
that,
the
but
only two
damage to
things.
the property, I just wondered, because I remember reading in one of the policies that there was something about, they would be sued if they destroyed the building, but also I wondered if that's part of what the insurance covers when the person
Yeah.
proves that to us. One part that came from the old policy that I just want to make sure, and again, it's sort of a discussion base, it's highlighted at the bottom. So all fees collected for the use of town property will be deposited as revenue in the general fund budget and not diverted to any other accounts. That is information from the old policy. Okay. A statement, a piece that I put underneath payment, big discussion piece. Full-time residents of Townshend applicants applying for private nonprofit gatherings are exempt from payment. That's a big change. That's putting into words something that's been coming up about when do we waive the fee, when do we not waive the fee? And so I was trying to think of who do we typically waive the fee for, and it's often full-time residents who are applying for a nonprofit private gathering, or even public or private gathering, I guess I should say.
Well, would we describe these last two requests to be nonprofit?
One of
I
it's a
mean-
government operation, so that's a meeting that,
So that's not, yeah,
Okay.
that's nonprofit, and then the
And
other is
one
a
was
school
Kids going on
fundraiser.
fundraising, so that's nonprofit.
Right, and I mean, I don't even remember if it was a fundraiser as much as it was an event. Laura, you had your hand?
Well, I was thinking about that whole scene, and I was thinking that one of the things that Rob has said numerous times is that people aren't trying to make money, you know, it's not a commercial enterprise, whatever, but yet there are people that have been using the common, and it is a commercial enterprise, whether they're a nonprofit or not. They are making money, it's a commercial enterprise. So I was wondering if it could be reworded to, you know, residents of town, I mean, like residents of Townshend are, people can go and recreate on that common at any time, which is pretty much what I thought our taxpayer dollars were for. It's a bit, you can go throw a ball, you can throw a frisbee, you can hang out with your friends. That's what commons are for. When people are using them and taking them over for an enterprise in order to make money, that's a whole different can of worms than resident taxpayers that just being able to play. So it just seems like if they're gonna make money out of the deal, they should pay, whether it's nonprofit or not.
So Phoebe, I think my question was more, maybe the wording could include students who are fundraising, or something that, because that, the nonprofit word, you know, might be convoluted.
Yeah. So just as a draft, one last piece, I'll bring up some of the changes or addition pieces. So one thing that is from the old policy talks about, so I added the idea of a cleanup fee if there was additional damage, etc. And the other piece in terms of the actual rental application, the information I took from the old one, that again, I think we should look into wording in the way that we do it, because it talks about the trees on the common will not be used as anchors, tie down, or bolsters, and we do use those two trees for, like it's up there right now for Pumpkin Festival. There are certain times that we do events tie things to the tree, and I know it's case by case, and it's...
Yeah, but the wire is there permanently.
Okay.
So they hang it, it's not like they're taking...
Okay, so unless it's on the permanently affixed, cool, so that helps, okay. I also think, I don't mean to backtrack to the fee, but I think that there should be something that says that we have the right to waive the fee on a case-by-case basis, because we have, out of respect for certain families and things like that, waived the fee, whether they were long-term select board members or, you know, something happened to somebody, and we've taken it on case by case, and it's not always a nonprofit or a school or something.
It's a good idea.
I think we need to have that in there. You're right, because the line that's up there for the insurance,
I can add in the sense of this requirement may be waived at the discretion of the select board. Cool, thank you for that. And I'm good with, so I guess, sorry, another thing that I've heard people talk about is the fee amount. So if we have a set fee, but certain events are using particularly the common for like, let's say 5 days, and an event is using the common for 1 day, the fee is the same. So is there any thought of it being a daily rate? Or like, you know, the town hall is typically not used for multiple days at a time in a row, but the common is, and similar to what Laura was saying, like that does take it away from the people to have access to it. So just.
But remember when you're talking about this, that we want people to use these spaces.
Absolutely.
And if you start charging somebody multiple days $400 or $500, they're not going to want to use the spaces.
That's why I'm bringing it up as a discussion, is just what makes the most sense and what is equitable.
What was the language when it was written the first time, Rob, about using, well, not the first time, but the last policy there was? It was to keep, to allow people to use the thing, but not basically.
For commercial endeavors.
Okay.
It is the policy of the town of Townsend to encourage the use of its public rental space, town hall, town common, as public meeting place, as well as for private gatherings. The town has established this policy for reserving and utilizing these spaces. That's what I took from the old policy. And that's what I want this policy to incorporate. I don't want it to be looked at as a thing that becomes the reason somebody doesn't use the space, and you know, different checks and balances to make sure that it is equitable and it's clear what people are getting.
Yeah, I think to preserve the relationships we've established and not scare future people away, maybe after 5 days there's an incurred fee.
Ooh, I like that.
Like $100 for the first 5 days.
Yeah, but the whole reason that we wrote, or that I didn't write it, but Kathy Hagee wrote this, was because of an incident that happened where there was a multiple day event that went on. We were in drought, and everywhere there was a booth and everywhere everybody was walking, it was all dead.
Right.
So that was the idea, is to get them to set up and take down and move along in a timely manner.
Yeah. So
And
maybe there's
that's
a time cap.
what that was for.
Yeah.
I see.
Because the grass, yeah, that's a big thing. Absolutely.
Well, it goes back to what Bartlett Tree Service has recommended as far as the soil compaction around the trees, and there's just, and it was all in line of what was going on. And that's why it was worded and put in the way that it was by Kathy Hagee.
Yeah.
Corey, how many, 7 years ago? See? I'm on my A game tonight, bud.
No, that's helpful historic information though, that we also do want to have a cap.
So cap the days.
People can't monopolize the common for more than X amount of days due to tree or, you know.
Due to the health of the common,
Yeah.
whether it's trees, grass,
Cool.
whatever.
I will take another,
One thing that I would
yes, please.
encourage on it would be some sort of verbiage of driving on the common.
That is on there, yes.
It is, okay. I haven't been through
So
it.
part of what's been challenging is there's the application and then there's the policy, and they don't all have the same information. So I can try to make sure that I put all of them into the same thing. The rental space, the application has more information about the assumption of responsibility, liability insurance, alcohol use, tobacco use, motorized vehicles, trees, electrical service, etc. So that covers that part. And in the old application, the fee was different based on the months.
Yeah, it's because they were patched together from different ones.
So
It was
do we
actually
wanna
modeled, it was
preserve
actually
that?
modeled after the Newfane Commons.
Okay,
So they
Policy.
need to connect between the application and
oh no,
the
that I
policy.
understand.
My vision for this is when somebody comes in here to get that application,
Uh-huh.
they're handed a copy of that right off.
Absolutely, yeah, no, absolutely. It just has been for my process of like trying to preserve the structure of the old format, and not changing where things go. It just means that they're in two different places. Anyway, I thought it was interesting to find out that October through March, it's $50 more expensive, according to the old policy. That's what was written.
Peak season.
For this building or for the common?
For the town hall,
Because of the,
yeah.
Oh, probably.
Um,
That barn upstairs isn't heated, except for minimally in the winter time.
Yeah, October through March. Anyway,
And I don't know as though it was so much to do with upstairs, but when you have however many people going in and out, some people hold the door open and keep it stuck, you know, so it sucks all the heat out. And I think that's why it was
come on, Pat.
added cost. What's that?
Give me a back, Pat. I got it. I
You're
understood.
pushing it.
I understood the concept, why it's more.
so thank you, this is helpful. I will update and bring it to hopefully the next meeting, by the 24th.
You need that statement that you sent via email,
I
signed
figured.
and in writing.
Okay,
It's just something in the,
I don't have a printer, or,
email it to Connie and she can print it off so you
I
can
did.
sign it at the next meeting.
okay.
Her resignation
Does she want to
has to
sign
be.
it tonight?
Yeah, I'll do it. Okay, I'll just send it to you.
Have you found a place to live, or do you need to resign?
The problem is I have a place to live.
Oh, you do have a place.
Yeah. I tried desperately to find a spot in Townsend.
Yeah.
Phoebe, are you all set with that?
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Stone Arch Bridge Supervisory Committee update and recommendations. Good God.
Wait. I've learned to eat first, so now I can sit. I guess it was 4 weeks ago, September 12th, that you received the sole proposal in response to that RFP that Connie and our committee and members of the select board helped us, it took so many hours to write. Anyway, we went away from September 14th feeling quite depressed and very sad that there was only one bid. And we knew Rob would like that because he could say, see, I told you so, only one bid. But as you know, because I'm sure Connie has shared copies of the proposal with you all already, we were really pleasantly surprised when we read the proposal. And it's pretty dynamite, actually. Not only is the project leader qualified to the max, he holds a Master Craftsman certification in dry stone masonry. 2 other members of the team also hold the Master certification. We were very concerned about finding someone who would be qualified to do this historical work in keeping with the standards set by the Secretary of the Interior. That certainly does. In addition, the other proposed members of the other proposed members of the team, 3 have a level 3 trained certification, and 10 have at least a level 1 certification. They've only proposed 2 members of the team who would be strictly uncertified. I guess the word would be a laborers or helpers on the job. So we were very pleased with the qualifications. That was the thing we were looking for most closely. So we didn't make a mistake when we're doing our recommendation. And with the encouragement of Jamie Duggan, who is on our committee as an advisor, he's on the Vermont Division for Historic Preservation, and he's in charge of all the Vermont monuments and parks and structures. So he has pretty good knowledge of this. He said, let's send it off to the National Park Service and let them give a preliminary review. And so we did that, and that's why we were delayed 2 weeks in bringing this to you. But the Park Service, despite the threat of the government shutdown, quickly did a preliminary review and let us know that they're quite pleased with the scope of work that's proposed. That doesn't mean they're not going to want to tweak it a little and nitpick, because that's what they do. And once, if you should accept this proposal and get to the contract stage, then before the contract is signed, the town and the contractor would work out all these details about the scope of work. That still remains to be done, but they were preliminarily very pleased. What else is good about it? The work will be done within the timeline that we stipulated, 3 or 4 months, starting in spring of 2024 and concluding by fall. The person who submitted this bid, Brian Post of Standing Stone in Chester, presented a signed certificate of compliance, which was required by the RFP. He submitted a signed certificate of insurance, which the town also required. And best of all, the bid was within, in fact, a bit lower than our estimated budget of $800,000. It came in at $736,200 with an extra page that detailed all the possible contingencies. And so Charlie and I have talked this over, and we're, in terms of fundraising and having enough money on hand, we are still aiming for $800,000 because we think by the time the project gets done, there'll be increased costs, and there may be some other things that we have to do to be brought into compliance with the standards for preservation. But we're extremely happy with the one bid. We're more than happy that included on the team are 2 other stonemasons who we expected would submit separate bids themselves, and they've combined. So we have a really superpowered team. So as you can imagine, the committee has voted to highly recommend to you that you approve the proposal of Standing Stone for the restoration of the West Townsend Stone Arch Bridge.
Is that what you need tonight, Lee?
Pardon me?
Is that what you need tonight?
We would love it tonight. If you have to deliberate on it and you do it at your next meeting, that would be just fine too.
Let's see where we're at. Go ahead, John.
I find this whole situation I find the town being taken advantage of. And there's quite a bit of information in here that should be challenged in these documents. And the town shouldn't be talked into a project that is well overcharged. The project is being overcharged for what you're actually going to do. And tonight's not the night to go into particulars, but I will with your committee, Lee, when you want to. And I would hope that the select board tonight just tables this and deals with another meeting, because I couldn't be more disturbed at what we're being charged for actually what's going to actually get done on this project. $800,000. Think about it.
Well, to give you
I
a-
would say tonight, other than I would hope the select board to take this very seriously, the situation that we are now in as a town.
And to follow up with what John's saying, the total cost of labor is $578,300 just for labor. Cost for materials is is $98,800, and the total cost of equipment rental or equipment used, however you'd like to, whether it's rented or whether they own it, is $59,100 for a total lump sum bid of $736,200. So if I understand what you're saying, John, is you think that the $578,300 in labor is excessive?
Absolutely. No question about it.
Lee, maybe you could talk about the structure of the grant and how it's a,
Yes,
the
I
pass-through.
will address it in a modest way. We are paying for highly certified stone bases because our proposal from the very beginning was to build the bridge as closely as we could using the same methods as were used by James Otis Pollock when he built the bridge in 1910. We went back through Bernie Sanders' office for some congressional designated money that was given to us, awarded to us, approved by Congress and awarded to us, and then they designated that money via the National Park Service Department of the Interior. One of the stipulations to receive that $221,000 grant is that it be a preservation project, not a restoration project, not to knock it down and put any old stones back up, but to carefully deconstruct the bridge, mark each stone, replace them as close to the way they looked originally, according to standards that are set by the Secretary of the Interior for historic preservation projects. So yes, you could take the bridge down and you could put a metal bridge across, or you could build a bridge like they did down in South New Fane for millions of dollars, just a plain old cement formed bridge. It would cost you more anyway. I mean, this may seem like an exorbitant amount to you, but it's paying for something really special. It's one of the main historic treasures of the town. It belongs, it's the heart of the West Townsend Historic District. It's one of a set of 6 that we have here in town. And the Historical Society has tried very hard to cultivate the business aspect of this whole project, that it will be a magnet for tourism, for cultural tourism, bringing people to the area to see the bridges, to stay, to buy products, to have parties with tents and all that sort of thing. So we feel that it's well worth the expense.
So how much money is the town being asked to come up with?
Well, the town has already come up with, over the course of 5 town meetings, $288,000. That was voted by special article.
And then you got the grant for the other 200?
Yes, we're very close to completing the $800,000 budget.
Oh, without asking for the town?
I didn't bring the thing,
So you're close to having enough money without even the...
Oh yeah, our wildest hope is that we won't have to go back to the town this coming March for any more money. What the town, as I understand it, the town's responsibility, the money that they have to add, has to do with things that would have already fall under the category of the roads budget or the highway budget. Repaving the surface, putting in the drainage, stuff like that. That's not my area of expertise.
Guardrails.
So we're very close to having all the money we needed. We've had, over the past several months, we've had substantial gifts of $50,000 and $100,000. And we anticipate one more if we need it. I just submitted a grant proposal. See, we do that, even by volunteers. And to the Vermont Division for Historic Preservation for a $20,000 preservation grant. And we hope, they have supported us from day one. We hope that we will get that money too. We won't know that till December 1st. So it looks like we're going to be in pretty good shape budget-wise. We've promised the town that they were not obligated to go forward if all the money wasn't raised. And that was a part of Charlie's discussion from the very beginning, right?
Yes, it was.
So I don't think we're going to ask the town for any more, John, and I wish you'd give a gift.
Jerry?
My gift will be to see if we can hold this company responsible for what they're gonna charge. I'm not questioning the project, I'm all for the project.
I would
Being
say
taken advantage of, Lee.
we are very happy to have their expertise. It's the most amazing team that we could possibly have come up with. And I think they're gonna do the job that needs to be done the way it needs to be done. We can toss out the $221,000 and go back to the town for that. And not follow the Secretary of Interior standards. There's a bridge that was done that way in Putney, the Hilo Biddy Bridge. And if you've seen a picture of it, it looks like any old bridge, even though it's a stone arch bridge. It was not preserved. It was not restored. It was simply renovated. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
Jeremy, go ahead.
May I ask why the bridge is being restored? As a person who drives over it in a fully loaded truck, is it safe?
The bridge is safe,
Then
but particularly over the last decade, the increased weight of vehicles going across the road, the increased speed of vehicles going across the road, the extremes of weather has really made the erosion worse, and that the stones that are holding the sides of the bridge are beginning to move out of place. And as they move, it adds stress to the arch. The arch is in really the best condition of any part of the bridge. But you've seen the condition of the surface, it's pitted, it's eroded, and all of that takes water down to the center of the bridge, and it's gonna start wearing away at the arch. And I'm not an engineer, and you know more about roads than I do, but that's the best I can tell you.
There's another thing about water, Jeremy, that's gonna have to be corrected up there because it's going in the wrong place for the ultimate health of the bridge over time.
this is an issue that needs to be addressed.
I believe so, yes.
The one thing I didn't mention though was the freezing and thawing and the snow plowing. The solid sides have been a problem, I think, that's been identified. The snow sometimes gets trapped inside and it makes the freezing and thawing on top of the bridge even worse. So we can solve a lot of problems, and the ultimate scope of work is going to really be a compromise. The Secretary of the Interior, who is over here talking about preservation, is going to have to compromise a little bit with VAOT, who's going to do the specs for the sides of the bridge and how open we can make it in order to get the snow to go out and so forth. So there'll be a compromise in the end, but I think by giving preliminary approval, the National Park Service is saying, you know, we're not going to find something that's going to cost you a terrible much more money than you've already budgeted.
As far as the water goes, no, not right now.
No.
But it's going to have to be fixed at some point.
Within the scope of the project.
Within the scope of the project, okay.
Yes.
So we've got some time to worry about.
Who's responsible? Is that gonna be part of the bid? Or is that on us?
It will be on the town,
Yeah, that part's.
but it will be working
I
in
guess I just need
conjunction
more time to
with
catch
the
up on
project.
this
Yeah.
process and what's going on.
That's fair. If you want to sit down with us and Connie and just ask all your questions, we'll try to answer them. I don't think I'm the best person to answer the questions about the road.
Well, from what Charlie has told me specifically, that the parapets along the side of it
And the drainage.
and the drainage are the biggest problems that the town, and paving it, or keeping
Yes,
it clean.
I'm not certain that we couldn't get a grant to do those parapets if the town feels really that it's pressed too much, but on that. But
Well, apparently Charlie and Dick DeGrenier went out looking for parapet designs all over the place. I guess he's got quite a stash of photographs.
yes, but then the Secretary of the Interior's representatives in the Park Service spoke to us and said, oh, it's got to look like it's gotta be historic. So they've declared that what remains of what was there, that the cement structures that there's a little bit left of now, those can be historic because they've been in place for over 50 years or something like that. However, we came up with some pictures that just show wood and metal. Very interesting, and they had to agree that we could also do something like that. So that's going to be a little give and take there, and V-Trans is going to come into that because they're going to say they're going to put the specs on the height and so forth, and
50 years makes it historical. Couple more, I'll be right there.
yeah,
An antique.
yes, I'm way past my bedtime. Anyway, I hope you've had a chance to look over your proposals. Obviously you have. If you have other questions between now and when you vote, please give them to Connie and we'll, as a committee, find answers.
I'll ask the rest of the board, do you feel comfortable with voting to move it forward now or spending the time over the next couple of weeks to look this stuff over?
I would appreciate digesting and reading it a little bit more, getting a bit more information.
Same, I'd like to find out more about the implication on what the town might owe. Get a number on that.
You already know all the...
I'm well versed in this. I'm on the committee and I'm also the secretary for this historical society, so I'm not even sure I'm supposed to vote, but
You were
I
assigned
would
that
be ready
from
if I
us.
can.
You were assigned that from us.
Right.
so. Not the secretary of the Historical Society. You took that nightmare on yourself.
One person's
Okay.
nightmares and another
Rob?
person's dream.
Same thing, hold on it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
That's
will
what
you
we'll
vote
do.
at your next meeting?
I mean, it will be a
think so.
piece of old business, so we will bring
Yeah.
it back into discussion and,
Okay. There is a sort of a time
that's good enough.
element here. We need to get a contract in place before the end of the year, and the stonemason who has made the proposal and spoken on behalf of his team, they're taking jobs, as you well know, service people do already for next year. So there is some sort of haste to move forward with this. It isn't like, this is the middle of October. If we're going to get a contract with these people, we need to do so relatively soon, because before we can be sure the project will go off, the refined plan per the contract for the scope of work has to go back to the Park Service and be approved. So,
That's awful.
I think we got 2 weeks, we'll have plenty of time to
that would
look
be
it
great.
over. and
Thanks.
At least,
Charlie's gonna come in 2 weeks.
oh,
And wait for the old business.
okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Lee.
For all your help
work.
and support.
Great work.
Okay, the next thing up is the Gazebo Committee update.
Yeah, well,
Is that you?
my date stood me up.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Jim was supposed to
So
be
just so you
here.
know, Laura, in the select board's packet is a little bit of the update. So the select board pretty much has the update,
Yeah, Jim
even
was
though Jim
supposed to
did
bring
not come to the
the,
meeting.
The photo-
What's
There's some
that?
photographs.
he was supposed to bring a poster. Basically what we're doing is we're making a poster. We have 5 gazebo designs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're asking people from the town, we're making little ballots, and we're asking people from the town to choose which one they like.
Okay.
And we were going to be supposedly going to the Pumpkin Festival Saturday morning, but since I don't have the poster, I don't know. I'm not sure how that's gonna fly, because I need the poster and the ballots. So anyway, are we having a meeting tomorrow night?
Nope, there's no
I
one
didn't think
scheduled.
so. So Jim
So
was supposed
if you
to be
look
here
at that
tonight.
summary, the plan is, the committee has spent a lot of time and has picked 5 options for the town's informal vote or the poll, which will start Friday the 13th and run through December 1st.
Oh, this is gonna be damn dangerous. Friday the 13th.
That's a
Good
good
That will be
idea.
the start of the vote and it will run through December. In the meantime, there will be some fundraising that's taking place as well.
Can
Yeah,
you
there's a couple-
share as the different ways people can vote? I think that will be important
That's
for.
gonna be, there's gonna be publicized on the Facebook family page, the Front Porch Forum, Rick Hagee's place, and will be
Okay.
posted at the 2 post office and town halls about how somebody votes. They basically come in, they sign a sign-in sheet, they get a ballot, they put it in the box.
Oh, cool.
And I was gonna go to the Pumpkin Festival and ask
Right.
people to vote there as well, if I can
Like
coordinate.
between now and
And
Saturday,
we have
we'll
a
figure
couple
out the
of,
poster.
I've got tins that I'm making for collection, for donations.
Got
Little,
Cool.
so that's kind of like where we're at right now. We're not quite sure what we're gonna do if we do get donations, as far as what account to put them in, but, you know, we'll figure it out.
Do we have any sort of an idea what the ballot
Yeah,
for voting?
yeah, the
So-
ballot
so-
basically has, choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
No, there's 6
Five
options.
Or not, or no gazebo at all.
No,
Those
there's 6
are the
with no
choices.
gazebo.
But does it have a point spot for your name or your
No,
property
the name,
address?
you sign in on the sheet before you get the ballot, and then if you want comments, they can put comments on the other side of the ballot.
So there is like a
We're trying to keep it as
balance that
simple
you're
as-
a resident. Or, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, people don't want a gazebo at all, a couple of people have mentioned they think it looks just fine without one, so, we're trying to go according to public consensus.
Dig a bunker.
But it's an informal vote because there's still so many other logistics, like this doesn't decide what the gazebo is gonna be,
Right.
obviously. It's just people, it's mostly for aesthetics.
It's a poll.
It's a poll, yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
poll,
like what this one looks like or that one looks like? And there's some specs involved in what the material of the gazebo would be
Cool.
made of, that kind of thing. But it's not in any way like a finalized decision on what would be presented to the select board.
Yeah, it's basically for feedback, you know, what do the people want?
Selfishly,
That's
this
the
was
whole
my
point.
dream.
If we can, so then I just gotta hunt down the guy with the poster. So that's
Cool.
So-
Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
All right, VLCT wants to use upstairs. This is for a meeting of local, for us here on this select board, although the select board's coming in to meet together with the chair of, or the director, Ted Brady of VLCT. This is gonna be October 24th from 11 to 2. Is there any opposition to this? We have insurance, they provide insurance to us.
No, I don't have any opposition. Is there any idea how many people are coming?
No,
No.
not yet, not yet. They asked people to sign in, but, or to do a online registration, but that kind of created a problem because not everybody had their signing credentials.
That was me.
Oh.
Okay, entertain a motion to accept, to allow VLCT to have their meeting here, knowing that it's going to involve
Are we
select.
waiving the fee or not?
Yes.
Well, why would we get charged to be part of VLCT, but they get a free ride on our end?
It's a thing that we're going to participate in. So it's basically a government services type of thing.
We're already paying for the government service.
Yeah, but our people are going to it.
Do you
Would
get
charging
fed?
them scare them away?
No, it wouldn't. So again, motion to accept.
So moved.
All right, any further discussion?
Who seconded?
No, I moved it.
She moved it.
Oh, sorry, second.
Second, okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, and
Well, did
is there?
everybody vote on that?
Huh?
Did everybody vote? or do we have an abstention? I don't think. Rob, did you vote?
Nope,
So you abstaining?
just staying quiet. I'm not going with
the 4 or 5.
any of them.
All right,
Well, and is the fee getting waived?
yes. Me signing off on this is, all right? Okay.
Just because something says Vermont or Wyndham doesn't mean they get a free ride.
I like your thinking.
Okay. Next one, in your packet, you've already signed off on it. There's a sheet that's going in the other side of the binder for that individual.
I'm sorry, Shirley, what did you,
Huh?
I didn't follow what you just said.
He wants to just move past this one.
Let's see, now we've got something from the Army Corps. Best I can tell of this is they want us to sign off on permission to use their road. Grant the town of Townshend a license to use the road across the top of Townshend Dam.
Isn't it our road that they're using?
No,
It goes across the dam.
Goes across the dam, it's
their road that
theirs.
we're using.
And we're maintaining.
Effective December 1, 2023, the termination date of the aforesaid license is hereby extended through December 31st, 2028. Condition 2, number 18, G, is hereby modified by replacing the word environmental conditions and property ECP report with the words Phase 1 environmental site assessment. All of the other items, all of the other terms and conditions in the aforementioned license are thereby ratified and accepted. But I don't see an actual license of what we're signing off. Yeah, I don't see a license of what we're signing off on. I think we need more information than just to blindly sign off on something that the Army Corps is doing. Any objections to that?
No, just to state the obvious that it's somewhat timely, because that road is a massive transportation, if people can't use that road, that changes a lot.
Well, there's been a lot of signing off on things in the past.
No, absolutely, just the timeliness of it, I agree that we wanna make sure we know what we're signing, and just wanna make sure that it's done by any deadline that would impact whether or not the road stays open.
All right, Connie, would you see if you can find this agreement or get this agreement from them? I'd really like to know what I'm signing.
Rob, do you remember any of this?
Nope.
My follow-up question was gonna be, if so, do you remember any concerns people had over it? So I guess I won't pursue that, but.
What's the biggest issue is people are not real happy with the fact that they haven't gotten the swimming area open and the beach area open since Irene, and that's been 12 years.
Well, I think after this summer, people have a different reality of that. I just think about how many people drive over it.
I mean, I could be totally wrong about this. What I read about this is not the agreement between the town and the dam regarding the
No.
project. It's literally just the agreement that was established prior to 2008 that allows the town to use the road.
Yeah,
Okay,
except we don't know what that language says. That's my
so,
only thing. We want to see the original
right,
agreement about the road.
I'll see if I can find the original. I just want to be clear that our dissatisfaction with the recreation area or how they
Oh,
are,
no.
that is not covered by this.
No.
This would mean if we don't extend it, they could take away our right to use the road.
Correct.
Right.
And for all the people who who are on that side and have dealt with like all the West Hill closures, etc., that road is,
Right, so what I'm saying is
Deal.
that if you challenge or don't sign it, and it expires at the end of 2023.
which was why I was making the comment of it being very
I
timely.
don't think it's a problem, but they could technically close the road on us. I just want to be clear, that our frustration with them on other issues is different than this particular issue.
No, we just want to see what it says and what it's about, because I don't think anybody, I know nothing about it. I don't know if he knows anything about it. I think he just said no.
I mean, we've had an agreement with them along that we maintain it, and we can use it, and if we don't want to maintain it, then we don't have to use it. And I'm pretty sure that is what that's saying.
Okay, so the last thing is Vivian Jeffers, who is looking to use, where are we here?
She has
Common.
2 town hall use requests.
No, this is the common, this one says the common.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. The other one the town hall? I don't see on that one. This one definitely says the common. The other one doesn't say what we're talking about.
Probably similar because it says depends on the weather and guests, as the first one does, so I bet you it's a common.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them has both of them check marked, the common and the town hall, and one of them has nothing marked.
There's a little note on both that says depends on the weather and the guests, so maybe she wants the commons with the town hall as a backup.
All right.
For both dates?
Yeah.
For 2 different
Two different
dates,
things.
yeah.
So for October 15th and November 4th.
Yes.
So 5 days from now. To use the common? Will
If
the
weather
common-
permits,
If weather permits, yeah.
Will the common be
it's not used.
not used?
Pumpkin Festival's 14th.
Okay, so
And
we
it will
have,
be cleaned up and,
I believe the Pumpkin Festival will clean up after themselves.
okay.
all right. So, entertain a motion to grant Vivian Jeffers the use of the common or the town hall, depending on weather, for 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 10/15.
What is she using it for?
Let's say,
Doesn't say.
and the form doesn't ask it, so.
So moved, okay, we have that. Thank
My
you.
question would be, isn't in the town, or the policy, isn't there a timeline?
Timeline for.
A timeline, like, they're supposed to give us a set amount of time before they use it?
30
Request?
30 days, yeah.
Well, this one's 5 days.
As a lot of others have been as well. People have not abided by that 30-day. What people do often is they get it in by the time that there's a select board meeting happening, but they don't abide by the 30 days.
I'm curious what it's for. Can we give her a call?
Families and guests, weather and guest dependent on the top of the first one. And if they're gonna use they need the insurance certificate on either one, not if she gets a key.
Yeah, that was my question, because I thought usually they provide the insurance when they apply to use it.
And they apply to use it. So, on the first one, we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
All right, is there any further discussion?
It'd be nice to see the insurance, and it'd be nice to get more than 5 days.
Yeah.
And I know it is the fault of the form, but I guess prior to this, I felt like I've had a better idea of what the space was gonna be used for. Like a festival or a bridal shower or etc. To me, it definitely, in working on the forms, helps me know that it's helpful to have a reason on this form as well. Because we don't know, like, she could be using it to sell a whole bunch of stuff on the 15th for profit. Again, I know that it says weather and guest dependent. I'm sure Vivian Jeffers is a fantastic person and there's a reason why they're applying. It's just, I don't have all the info. But it's also kind of the fault of our form currently.
Okay, well, there's been a motion made and seconded. Two options, yes or no. In the no, you would be sending it back for further information. But then you have the time constraint of the 5 days if we're going to allow them to use it.
May I interject? If you're gonna have a policy and you don't use it, why have a policy? You know? And it might behoove everyone to maybe put something on the application about what the event is going to be.
Should we put that on the old one or the new one?
I have no idea. You've had so many people popping around here, I don't know which one is which anymore.
Are we voting on just this first one, or are we voting on both of them?
I think just the first one.
Yeah, that's what the motion is. If you want to amend the motion to have both of them, I can certainly do that.
Sorry, well, I don't know if that would be the best idea. I'm not sure. I'm gonna keep my motion the way it is.
Okay.
The motion is to approve.
The first, yes.
The first
one.
one.
Yeah.
And then, are we covering the issue of the fee and the chair's authority to sign?
I don't
Yes.
see a reason to waive the fee.
The other thing is pending the insurance. I mean, we can sign off on it, but they need to provide the insurance or they just can't use it.
Well, and
I'm just
I
going
mean,
over what the motion is. So
Yeah.
the motion
That's-
that Katie made is to approve the use, not waiving the fee. And the chair has the authority to sign on behalf of the board. Is that what I understand the motion to be?
sure, yes. I mean,
If we had an idea what it was
But we
used.
don't, I know.
Well, I understand that, I'm just saying that if we had an idea what it was used for, then we'd be in a little better situation to waive it or
I'm
apply
just
it.
trying to make sure I understand the motion.
I'm moving in the direction of amending my motion to add both requests, to the same motion. If you want me to tell you why, I will, but it's separate from the motion. I mean, it very clearly says that the copy of the liability insurance must be attached when applying for use, and I feel like it's not attached on either of these, so I think there would be a possibility for going in the same direction both times, so.
So have you amended your motion?
I amended my motion
To
to
what?
add both of her requests into one motion.
Okay.
And it's still the motion to allow it, correct? Okay.
And 11-4.
All right, so do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Do we have any further conversation or comment?
Are we gonna end up receiving a certificate of insurance, or we not worrying about that, or? I mean, if you
We should-
okay, if we don't get it, or we get a fault, something weird, what do we got going on then?
Yeah, they have to have the insurance before they can use the place.
And so the motion is to approve it right now. Right. Are we ready to vote?
Well, I think Rob's brought up a good point in discussion, in that nowhere on there says the insurance is, it says something about insurance.
It says, if used, we will have insurance certificate before she gets the key.
But that's not how we do it. It's
No, it's not.
up here.
I understand that, that's what I was just bringing up, is the fact that,
So what we
I
can,
mean, almost every time that we've gotten something.
But we
we've
have the
got
information to
insurance.
vote.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. We have the information to vote on this.
okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. That's to both of them.
Sure, did you vote?
Yeah. With-
So it's 0-5-0?
Now, can we make another motion to accept these with, on behalf of her providing us with the insurance before then?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
So I make a motion to allow Vivian Jeffers, as soon as she provides us with a certificate of insurance, to use the town hall or the common on the 15th and on November 4th from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the 4th, November 4th, and from noon to 6 p.m. on the 15th.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Fee and chair.
What's that?
Are we going to cover the issue of the fee and the chair signing on behalf of the board? Are you putting that in the motion?
Well, this is the part where if we knew what it was for, we'd be able to say whether we're waiving it or not. So maybe that should include having a description of the event with the,
Title, event
with
category.
the insurance certificate?
Still gotta sign it. Do you want me to sign it? If
Yeah, I
those
was
things are-
answering one question at a time.
All right,
So,
good, because I'm lost.
So what I'm hearing Rob say is that he is making a motion to allow Vivian Jeffers, upon receipt of description of event and certificate of insurance, to use the town hall or the common on 10/15 and 11/4.
and to allow Sherwood to sign off as soon as we get that,
And
and
fee
for
of-
no fee, as long as it's a non-commercial event.
So if non-commercial fee will be waived, that's part of the motion.
A little long-winded, but it covers it.
Do you want me to read it again?
You got that, Laura?
Yeah, we got
Is
it.
everybody clear on it?
Fly by it.
Okay.
Got it, I'm good.
All those in favor?
Well, wait a minute, we've made a motion, has someone
Okay.
seconded it?
Seconded.
Narrow seconded.
It's been a long night. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. 5-0. All right.
So we do adjournment?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Sure, the one thing that is cover on the agenda is the hiring of the road crew. There was a,
Oh, yeah, we didn't actually vote coming out of executive committee. What's his name?
Zach,
Zach Clark. All right.
you want a motion?
Yes, please.
Is it all right to fire his name on TV and no problem with that? Well, I would make a motion for the town of Townsend to hire Zach Clark of Brattleboro as our 4th road crew guy, effective Monday, the 16th of
Second.
October, 2023.
Second, even
Okay.
before we finished it. I have that much confidence in you, Rob.
Thank you. You're one and one.
All those in favor? Aye. 5-0. All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.